The following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports.
Y'all still want me to come with you?
It has taken 16 years and 443 races, but today the NASCAR Busch Series brings its stars west of the Mississippi for the first time ever. Series point leader Todd Bodine, defending series champion Randy LaJoie, 31 Busch Series regulars joined by 9 NASCAR Winston Cup invaders, including Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte. They're all here. 300 miles of flat-out racing on TNN Motorsports with the Las Vegas Motor Speedway jackpot awaiting the winner. The lights of the Las Vegas Strip beckon just 12 miles away. But today it's the bright light of NASCAR that's drawn us all to the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway and the NASCAR Busch Series Las Vegas 300. But it's not been all glitz all weekend. Steve Park, qualifying, finds the wall. A backup car is needed. Randy LaJoie, same fate. Backup machine, and there she is. It's Ellie Mae. Glenn Jarrett, that's his favorite girl, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is, Eli. And, you know, it may be to Randy's advantage that he had that crash during qualifying. Guy never wrecks a race car on purpose, but Ellie Mae, you're 2 for 5. She's due for another win, and you didn't wreck that race car on purpose, did you, Randy?
I'll never tell anybody if I did. I was trying awfully hard to get all these cars in front of me, behind me. If I would have made it, it would have been a good lap. But we had to bring up a backup. And if you had to bring a backup up, might as well be this good old my favorite race car.
Well, he started in 32nd and worse before and gone to the front. He's not too worried. There are a lot of good race cars around him here, so he's got a lot of company. Base Motorsports has 2 cars in this race. His teammate, Tim Fedewa, car number 33, the Kleenex Chevrolet, will go off in 8th position. Joining me on pit road today, here's Matt Yoakum.
Well, Glenn, the Diamond Ridge Super Team dominated qualifying. For the 3rd time this season, Elliott Sadler will start on the front row. And this time, he's alongside his teammate and pole sitter Jeff Green. But Jeff's number 1 in the NASCAR Busch Series, but he's finished 2nd 3 times. Jeff, you've had the car to beat all weekend. What's it going to take to get it to victory lane?
Well, first we got to keep all the fenders on this Chevrolet Monte Carlo, and I mean, it's running awesome, handling great. So we just want to finish. You know, we're in it for the points. We want to win for sure, but if it takes running 2nd or 3rd, I'm going to do that too. But we got a great car thanks to Gary Bechtel and B&R Motors and Mike Laughlin Chassis. It's working great, and we're just looking forward to the checkered flag.
Good luck. Well, Jeff Green is making his 100th career Busch start today, and what finer way to celebrate than end the day in victory lane. Eli?
Well, Matt, very much like Winston Cup, where you have your super teams, so too in the NASCAR Busch Series, Diamond Ridge Motorsports. They've got the front row covered here this weekend with Jeff Green and Elliott Sadler. The Base Motorsports team, though, has Randy LaJoie, the defending series champion, alongside Tim Fedewa, coming off a 7th place run at Atlanta. And the Team 34 entry with current point leader Todd Bodine and Mike McLaughlin. They, too, must be taken seriously here today. But, Dr. Dick Berggren, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to victory lane just because you've got a teammate.
Oh, there are an awful lot of strong teams here that don't have a second car, Eli. Take, for example, the number 38 of Elton Sawyer. He had a great run last weekend at Atlanta. He's got a strong car here. He's going to start in the 6th position. His chances are very good. So, too, are Dale Jarrett's. Over 300 starts, the most experienced driver in our field. He's won 11 times. He starts deep in the pack today, but don't be surprised to see him in victory lane at the end of this thing.
Then, of course, the big question is, how do you set up for the race here? It's a banked super speedway. Larry McReynolds, some teams are setting up that way, like we're at Michigan. Others, though, are setting up like at the short track in Richmond, Virginia. What's the deal?
Well, if you look at an aerial view of this racetrack, it looks a lot like Michigan. Has that long turning straightaway from turn 4 to turn 1. Going to take a lot of engine to get down that straightaway. But the corners are tight, only 12 degrees of banking. They're running those soft front springs like you would at Richmond or Phoenix, trying to get these cars to turn in the middle of the corner to get down that straightaway.
A lot of storylines to unfold here today, and we're certainly glad you're here to join us all on TNN Motorsports, the inaugural trip west of the Mississippi for the NASCAR Busch Series, and it's coming to you in your living room in just a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Las Vegas 300 is brought to you by the more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Purolator, to protect your engine. Remember, pure oil now, pure oil later. Purolator. And by Splitfire. Enter the performance zone with Splitfire Performance V spark plugs. Welcome, everybody, to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 107,000 seat facility, and here's who's on hand. Jeff Green has the Busch pole, his 4th career Busch Series pole, and Elliott Sadler, he had the pole at Daytona for the Gargoyles 300. Joe Nemechek, who finished 4th at Daytona and 5th in Atlanta in the last 2 Busch starts, alongside Hermie Sadler with his best qualifying effort of 97. Buckshot Jones off a 4th place finish at Atlanta, and Elton Sawyer, who finished 2nd in Atlanta. They share row number 3. Row number 4, Mark Green, brother of today's pole sitter Jeff Green, and Tim Fedowa. Todd Bodine. What a fine start he's had to 1997. Consistent runs to give him the point lead. And Glenn Allen, a 1996 Rookie of the Year. Ron Barfield in his 10th NASCAR Busch Series start with Tim Steele. He has just taken over the ride vacated by Jeff Purvis for James Finch. Row number 7 has Jason Keller and Mike McLaughlin, part of the super teams we've been talking about. Mike Dillon in row number 8, along with Jeff Fuller coming off his best finish of the year, a 12th last weekend in Atlanta. Phil Parsons, he has run and completed every lap this season. Rodney Combs Chevrolet is outside in row number 9. Row number 10, Jerry Robertson of Denver, Colorado, his first Busch Series start. And Kevin LePage, he's gone to a backup car after a Thursday accident. Tracy Leslie, who was 5th at Daytona, starts 21st. Winston Cup visitor Terry Labonte. Dick Trickle and Shane Hall will be on row number 12. Row number 13, Bobby Labonte. He was 3rd at Atlanta. And Joe Bessie, the fastest in 2nd round Busch pole qualifying here yesterday. Row number 14, Greg Sachs, Steve Park, who goes to the backup machine, Doug Taylor, and Mike Wallace, who drives for Ed Whitaker here this weekend. The 16th row has Dale Jarrett, winner of the Homestead Opener, Randy LaJoy in a backup machine, Jimmy Foster and Jimmy Spencer sharing the 17th row. Michael Waltrip with 7 Busch Series wins. He was 3rd at Daytona earlier this year, along with Randy Porter. That's row 18. Stevie Reeves and Tim Bender in the 19th row. 20th row backup machine for Johnny Chapman. He joins Jeff McClure. Ed Spencer III and a Jimmy Spencer backup, and Brad Payne of Owensboro, Kentucky. There you have the 42 starters for today's Las Vegas 300 and the Splitfire starting grid. Splitfire into the performance zone with Splitfire Performance V spark plugs. Now the AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. How about that purse, guys, with better than 73 grand potentially to the winner here today?
Pushing $1 million, Eli.
2nd biggest purse in Busch Series history. We'll be riding around this 1.5-mile super speedway. Phil Parsons will be taking us on board the channel lock machine today. Rodney Combs, as he works his way through the 12-degree banking of the turns. Now they're in turn number 4. Dick Trickle, the veteran, starting 23rd. We'll ride with him a good bit today as the field is getting the 1-to-go signal now as they come towards the start-finish line. Randy LaJoy will have the FINA colors giving us a lift around this racetrack today. Good selection, along with Stevie Reeves, who'll be working his way up through traffic here at the start. Larry Mack, 2,400 feet of elevation here today. Is that a nightmare for the engine builders or not?
Well, I talked with a lot of the engine builders yesterday, and they was struggling with the jetting a little bit. Remember, they run the 9-to-1 compression motors here with the 390 carburetor, and it's kind of tough to tune because even though your plugs will show you want smaller jets, the engine seems to perform better with more fuel poured in it. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of good racing, a lot of side-by-side racing here today. Fuel mileage could be an issue here before this day's over.
Meanwhile, you know what I found out, Glenn Jarrett? I found out they have casinos in Las Vegas.
You're kidding. Casinos here.
Yeah, go figure. And you know something? You can even wager on a NASCAR race at the casinos here in town.
That's right, and the odds makers have overwhelmingly picked Todd Bodine as the odds-on favorite. He goes off today at 2-1. Phil Parsons, who carries one of our in-car cameras, is also at 3-1. Now, if you were smart early in the week, Todd Bodine was an 8-1 pick. Man, I don't know if I would want to bet on a guy that's a 2-1 favorite. He was the quickest car in practice yesterday. Bodine could be the man to beat.
But how about that? Just showing where NASCAR's come to now, Dick Berggren. You've got NASCAR alongside the NCAAs, Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL, all on the big boards at the race and sports books out here at all the major casinos.
Well, and as well, Eli, we're seeing some new venues for NASCAR as well. Las Vegas is something that I think if you even talked about it 3 or 4 years ago, everyone would have said, oh, no, there won't be a racetrack in Las Vegas. And certainly if there is, the Busch Grand National cars won't go that far west. Well, here we are, and this is proven to be an absolutely tremendous racetrack, and the drivers are saying you may see the best race all year long right here because the track is so conducive to passing.
Matt Yoakum has taken up residence in the Slim Jim pit area with an early update.
Well, Eli, you talk about odds. Earlier in the week, the odds for the 57 car, Jason Keller, was 28-1, but he hasn't won in 38 races back at IRP. He hopes to turn the starting spot number 13 into a lucky position. He said the car was pretty good after happy hour. They made a lot of chassis changes, so there's a little bit of unknown thinking going on as far as this 57 car goes before the start of the race.
You're looking at the back straightaway now. That is virtually flat. It is 3 degrees, your basic backstretch, 1,572 feet long. The turns here are banked 12 degrees, relatively low as far as a major super speedway where you'll normally see banking of 18 up to 33 degrees. These turns are 12 degrees. The main straightaway and the dog leg is 9 degrees, 2,275 feet long. This is a 300-mile race, consequently 200 laps around this Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm looking forward to it. This should be a good race.
This is going to be a fun one. It really is. We're going to get to see the start in just a moment. Here we go.
Front row now, coming towards the starter stand. And yes, that racing surface feels as smooth as it looks. Green flag is in the air, and NASCAR has come to Las Vegas in the form of the NASCAR Busch Series.
Joe Nemechek looking to the inside there. Looks like he's going to take the lead off turn 2. You know, the groove around here is around the bottom, but the thing about it, Eli, Dick, if you move out of the bottom groove, there's another groove or two up above that you can really do some good racing and get some good grip.
Joe Nemechek ahead of Jeff Green, Elliott Sadler. That's the front 3. Completing lap number 1.
Nemechek has been incredibly fast all week long. They do plot lap speeds, and when they put out those sheets of who's doing what fastest lap per practice session, Nemechek has always been in the top 4 or 5 cars.
Let's inject something else to this whole discussion, though, as we see a good scramble behind those lead machines. There you've got Todd Bodine working to the inside of the 33 Fedua. You've got 4. That's Tim Steele. Remember, he's taken over for Jeff Purvis in that Phoenix construction entry. Let's add to the fact, folks, that these teams are on the racetrack now for the first time since the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour ran an extensive race here last night, and they still use bias ply tires. Larry McReynolds, that's something that these fellas may not really want to encounter here today.
Well, that's a good point. You know, in most cases, whether it be a Busch race or a Winston Cup race, when you have your final practice, nobody else will be on the racetrack before your race. But they did run that 200-mile race here last night, and they are on bias tires. Now, eventually, these guys will rub that bias tire rubber off the racetrack, but for the first few laps, it could throw them a little bit of a curve to their setup.
That's 9th place at the head of that pack of machines. Tim Fedua in the 33. The 99 is Glenn Allen.
Joe Nemechek taking no mercy on these guys in the early going.
He's just taking right off. And he said early in the week, he said, we came to win. He brought his Winston Cup pit crew here. Some of the guys have picked up locals to try to change tires and put fuel in it. Nemechek has left absolutely nothing to chance, including his pit stops.
Again, you're watching the battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th spot on the screen right now.
Just look at that side-by-side racing. I can't keep stressing that. This facility, the racetrack surface, the tire that Goodyear has brought here, which is actually the tire these guys run in Atlanta.
Right.
Just a lot of grip, a lot of good side-by-side racing, and that's something that some of our racetracks are not able to do right now.
And I guess I've heard the word grip in the garage area more times this weekend than I have in a long, long time. Everybody says, man, this place has grip.
Yeah, but 8 cars were in the wall during practice and qualifying.
Well,
even though there's even though there's good grip. And I think what's happened, Eli, is they just had to get used to this place. There was nothing yesterday in terms of even a spin, and it's as if they've got it all done and over with. It's out of their systems now, and we should have a great race today.
You know, sometimes that's what'll happen, though, and I think that happened to LaJoy and Steve Park in qualifying. The car felt so good. Steve told me, he says, I felt like I could almost run it wide open through 1 and 2, and obviously it didn't work when he got to 3 and 4.
LaJoy had a great quote when that thing was all done, when the accident ended. He said, "It would have been a great lap if I made it."
Yeah,
it would.
It would have been. They see Keller in the 57 working his way through traffic now as he works towards the front of that pack again. Scrambling his way up into the top 10 now is Jason Keller. If you're curious, Mark Martin is not here. He said he was looking forward to watching today's race from his couch back home. And Mark will tell you the other Busch Series guys are very happy that you're watching the race back home on the couch. Mark's been tough one, hasn't he? Winning the last 3 in a row.
Somebody probably forgot to tell him it's 10 grand just to start this race today.
Wonder what the odds would have been on him being here.
We are 7 laps into the Las Vegas 300. Joe Nemechek has shown the way from the get-go. Don't you go away. Lots of racing coming up from Glitter Gulch. We're back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. As you see, Joe Nemechek continuing to pace the field. Early stages, just 11 laps into the Las Vegas 300. Some good side-by-side racing. There's 3 wide with Phil Parsons working with Greg Sachs and Elton Sawyer, middle of the field. Guys are feeling a little racy here today.
They should be. This place absolutely inspires it. If anybody's having a hard time, it's getting out of the throttle, going into the corners. This place you can run flat out for much of the way around. The front stretch has got kind of a tri-oval shape to it. The drivers can all run that wide open. They run the back stretch wide open. When they pick up the throttle, it's right on the floor. They don't nurse it down. It's just flat on the floor.
Good scramble, Phil Parsons. Now Dick Trickle, with whom we ride, in 20th spot. That's Terry Labonte to his outside in the number 5 Bear entry. Off turn 2 and onto the backstretch. One retiree, Ed Spencer III, has just taken his car to the garage area. That was pretty much expected. He said, I don't know if the car's really going to work all day long, and he just lasts 11 laps before parking it for the day.
And that's too bad, because he really came here to get the experience. He's not had many starts in this league, and he wants to be a major league race car driver. And Jimmy Spencer says one day he's going to quit as a driver, and if he does, then Ed Spencer would be his driver in Winston Cup.
Up to turn number 3 now as we work lap number 13. Dick Trickle. The name Trickle so big out here. Chris Trickle, his name on everybody's lips this week. A big benefit for him here, a West Coast driver, Dick.
Yeah, they did have a big benefit for him, trying to raise some money. Chris Trickle shot in apparently a drive-by shooting incident. And the whole Trickle family got together here at the Las Vegas Speedway, and they kind of had a barbecue, and they held hands, and everybody's just hoping for the best for Chris Trickle.
Sean Monroe drove Chris Trickle's car here last night and finished 4th at the Featherlight Southwest Tour event. That's 20th and 21st, what we're riding with right now. It shows you how well Randy LaJoy has worked his way up through traffic.
Well, he sounded real confident when I talked to him this morning. You know, again, this is his favorite car, and you know, I think they don't have a bad car in their fleet. They're the top of the caliber of a team. He went a little hard qualifying, but he had just as good a car in the top of the truck, which is what chasing the points is all about.
That's 3rd place now. Todd Bodine and Elliott Sadler. You've got Buckshot Jones, Hermie Sadler, and Ron Barfield. That's 3rd on back now behind the race leader, Joe Nemechek. Second place, Jeff Green. From second place back to the battle that you're watching right now is already 2 9/10 seconds. So you can appreciate how quickly they have gotten away. Also some good side-by-side racing coming towards you there. You've got Greg Sachs in the 45. You've got Mike McLaughlin in the 34. Here comes the 40 entry. That is Jerry Robertson, who is taking over from Doug Hevron in that car. Robertson, a West Coast racer from Denver, Colorado originally.
Parsons in the number 10 car. He said this is his second best career start ever in this division. His best was 15 years ago in 1982 when he had as good a year as anybody could hope for at Busch Grand National. He's really got it together. They built a bunch of new cars over the course of the winter, added another engine to the rotation, kept the best people. Could be a strong year for Parsons in that 10.
Could well be. They have run and completed every single lap on the circuit this year, although interestingly they've only led one lap, and that came during an exchange of pit stops. Phil's pumped here this weekend. He really is.
Has every right to be.
Oh, Robertson, he's in 13th.
Oh,
Dick Trickle just
everybody
missing it.
misses him.
Whoa! Did Trickle do a job there or what?
The roller coaster at the Stratosphere couldn't have been any more thrilling than that right there.
The caution flag is out.
I would hope so.
Jerry Robertson, you might remember or recognize the name. He is an occasional ARCA Bondo Marhide Series racer. He's also run the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour. Let's take another look, guys, and see. It looked like it just got away from him.
There you see they coming through turn 4. Just got a little bit loose there and slid sideways, backing up the racetrack. Almost going to the outside wall. It's like right here he guns it. He sees this other pack coming and said, I'm getting out of here, guys.
That was a smart move, wasn't it, Larry? Got him out of trouble, and look at the car is still in one piece.
There it is again. Look just to the inside. You see Phil Parsons going by there, that blue and red car? Those are the kind of accidents he would have gotten caught up in last year.
Yes.
This year,
yep,
he's getting through that kind of stuff, and that's why he's running as well as he is. So caution on the Speedway. First time today, as we're still early, 19 laps complete in the Las Vegas 300. Time to get suited up. The gas can guys are going to work. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Las Vegas 300 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN. Just stop by your local Winnebago or Itasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on the Winnebago Motorsports team, please call 1-800-643-4892, extension 2. Commercial transportation for this broadcast has been provided by Ryder, the official transportation company for Opryland. Welcome back, everybody. Working the first caution flag of the afternoon. We've had a handful of teams come down the pit lane for service. Among them, Elton Sawyer has been in. Glenn Allen was in. Of course, the truck, or the car, I should say. We were just watching the truck race a few moments ago. Jerry Robertson, who spun. And watch what happens here from Dick Trickle's view.
There you see him breaking loose. Trickle's not sure which way to go and goes left at the last minute. And evades the accident there.
He's run, what, 2,000 races in his life, Dick Trickle?
At least.
And I bet he learned that in one of those 2,000 or so races.
I would bet so. A few more teams making pit stops now. At lap number 21, Shane Hall is in for service. Kevin LePage. There you see Tim Bender, who is in. Also, we saw the pit stop for Dale Jarrett while you were away, and he was being shown in 35th position at the time. He pitted for service from John Irvin and the crew.
We've only run 21 laps. Of course, it's a 200-lap event. NASCAR has only given these teams 3 sets of tires to use under caution. Now, under green, they can change as many tires they want. So some of the teams elected to take tires on here, adjust their cars. Most of the teams that did pit was cars that was running at the back of the pack.
Let's get an update on the Elton Sawyer pit stop moments ago as you watch the Jeff McClure car heading back onto the racetrack. Glenn, what'd they do on Elton's machine?
Well, Elton brought the car in, guys. He had started dropping through the pack. His car was pretty tight from the middle of the corner off. So they brought him in, topped him off with fuel, but they also put a rubber in the right rear, try to loosen the car up a little bit. Larry, I think that everybody we're seeing right now, you said the guys in the back of the pack pitted, they didn't have anything to lose. All those cars that came in made some pretty major chassis adjustments. A lot of the cars are real tight. Tire wear here today, it's not really a concern. They say the tires go forever and don't really give up that much speed, so they got a lot of confidence in the tires. I didn't see anybody change tires, just chassis adjustments.
I don't know if we got a straight answer, though, on fuel mileage from anybody in the garage today, Larry.
It sounds like people can run anywhere from 75 to 90 laps, but even if they can run 90 laps, that still makes you where one stop will not get the job done. So some of these teams that are pitting here, and again, as Glenn alluded to, tires are not giving up. They could hold a little of advantage of being able to run a little further before these guys come in and pit. What they did on Elton Sawyer's car is they stiffen that right rear spring with the spring rubber, and that will help the car turn a little bit better from the center of the corner out, which is what everybody's been fighting here for 2 or 3 days.
Glenn Allen has just gone back onto the racetrack again. Matt, what did they do on the Luxair machine?
Started 10th. The problem is, first they thought that they had a plug wire off. Then Bob Labonte came down and said, hey, I think you guys may be missing an entire spark plug. Terry says one bounced off the nose of his car. Now they think when the car came in the last time that the plug wire has leaned against the header, they're going to bring him back in and tie wrap it off so it won't lean up against the header.
Tough break right there. But all of this work being done under caution, so that certainly makes it a whole heck of a lot more palatable. Pace car pulls away. We're getting set to go back to green. What had been a 3.5-second lead for Joe Nemechek and Jeff Green evaporates, obviously. But here we go again. Green flag. 4 wide at 3rd and 4th spot on back.
Looks just like Michigan on the restart.
Or the front stretch at Pocono almost, but it's not straight. It's curving all the way through.
Well, let's see if we can get into it. Oh, look at this. We're still 3 wide going through the corner. We did not see that sort of stuff in practice.
Todd Bodine got real high in 1 and 2, and several cars got by him. There they see him 3 and 4 wide down the back straightaway.
You see a white line on the inside, and in the corners, anybody who gets below that white line with their tires, they have lost the banking of the racetrack.
You see the full rundown across the top of the screen. Our friends at Napa Auto Parts, who keep America running, will keep that rundown running for you all afternoon long, so you'll know how your favorite driver is doing as we're aboard with Dick Trickle there for a moment. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett, an update on the man running in 6th.
Well, he was 2nd, Eli. He's dropping back. They think they have a right rear tire going down. That's a very, very tough break. He has had the fastest car all week long, but they're getting ready to bring him in, guys.
And we're speaking of Jeff Green, who is showing himself so very well earlier in the day, now backslides. Meanwhile, look at the lead already for Joe Nemechek.
Already a 10, 12, 15 car length lead in just a couple laps here.
Elliott Sadler. Yeah, he's got his hand full, doesn't he, though, trying to keep all those guys back there?
He's a dandy. He could be a stand-up comedian out here in one of the showrooms. Funniest guy, but look at that lead already for Nemechek.
Tell you what I like best about Elliott Sadler, Eli. We're going to see a lot of him for a very long time. He's just 21 years old. He agrees he's got less than 150 starts of any kind in race cars. And look at him. What a year he's had. Pole at Daytona, 2nd fast qualifier the last 2 weeks in a row. He was 9th at Atlanta. This kid has got all the right stuff. And he is funny. I like him.
He is a hoot. Got Todd Bodine now challenging him. Also, we got to give a call to Greg Sachs, who all of a sudden is running in 6th. He started in 27th spot. He's going to be right there at the back of that pack. You see him right there. That is Saxey catching up to that group after starting in 27th. There's Joe Nemechek, the leader. Let's get back to the Jeff Green story, Glenn.
We see now that he has moved back up, I believe, to 5th position and running okay. Jeff radioed in. He was sure he had a right rear tire going down. Car was extremely loose on the restart, but they told him to stay down. Let the track get her. Car came back to him. We've checked with several of the other guys along pit road. Their drivers said the very same things. The cars were very loose. A lot of drivers complaining, thought they had tires going down. So something unusual we're seeing here, Larry, on the restart. Tires last a long time, but they feel kind of funky on the restart.
All right, let me tell you what this could be. Rubber's starting to build up on the racetrack. When they've run like they run a while ago, 20 laps, and the tires are hot and they slow down, the tires start to pick up rubber clumps. And a lot of times if you don't get them scrubbed off, really good, that's what will make the car feel ill when you go back to restart the race if you haven't changed tires.
And rubber clunks, for those of you who are not new, that is a technical NASCAR racing term.
A clunk of rubber.
Had a bunch of those back at the old gas station you used to work at in Ensley, Alabama, didn't you?
That's it. At the salvage yard.
Riding with Randy LaJoy, Mike McLaughlin challenging to the outside. That's back in 18th and 19th spot. You've got Dick Trickle there in 20th. Here comes Mike Wallace in Ed Whitaker's machine, that black number 7. That's Mike Wallace. They've not had an easy week. They've had engine problems and all. We're 29 laps complete. One caution, Jerry Robertson, who spun off the corner. Ed Spencer the third in the garage area. There's Terry Labonte, one of 9 NASCAR Winston Cup drivers, on hand. But it is Joe Nemechek who is showing the way by 1 7/10 seconds. It's a comfortable lead for the Bell South Mobility entry. Still early here in Las Vegas. We're coming right back. From high above the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, our friends at Duraloo providing all of the aerial shots. They're the top of the screen there outside the racetrack. That is a KOA campground for those who want to come to the racetrack and camp. Those seats there not open today. If you're wondering where that crowd is, those seats weren't even sold for today's event. There you see NASCAR online. For those of you who have your computers on hand, www.nascar.com. A 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. David Hyatt and his staff on hand here in Las Vegas to bring you up to speed on all that's going on here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. There's a good second place situation right there. You've got Jeff Green, Todd Bodine, Jason Keller in the number 57. He's running in 4th. All of this is well behind Joe Nemechek. When we broke to commercial, Joe had 1 7/10 seconds of an advantage. Now as they come to the stripe here, it is 1 5/10. So they're closing just a bit. But I'll tell you, Clyde and the guys have to be tickled, Matt Yoakum, to be running a strong third right now.
Eli, they were the odds-on favorite to win. Clyde, you had a little bit of motor trouble earlier in the weekend. How's the car now?
The car's pretty good. We're a little tight off the corner now, but the Stanley Pontiac, we're going to work on it here when we get a pit stop. In fact, caution's coming out right now, so maybe we're going to work on it right now.
Well, this is good luck for them.
And here's a break right there, and that's Jimmy Foster, who had the Speed Vision colors proudly displayed here today, but he has found the wall exiting turn number 4, and he brings out caution for the second time this afternoon. It will be at lap number 38 as the field comes back off the corner. Turn number 4 is gobbled up its share of race cars here this weekend.
It has been the place to crash for sure. And you know, you talk to the drivers and try to figure out why there are so many guys crashing into turn 4. And if you talk to 6 people, you'll get 6 different answers. Some say the cars get light going into turn number 3, and some say that it's just the banking of the corners. Some say that you get the illusion you can run wide open all the way around here. Lots of different reasons why this happens. This young man, youngest driver in the field, Jimmy Foster, only 20 years old, 3 career starts prior today, and he is behind the wall.
So to the garage area he goes as a result of the accident.
Leaders on pit road.
Yep, they're all working. That is an entry road that actually begins going into turn number 3. That's where you have to commit to make the entry to pit road if you're coming down low. Of course, you can dive off turn number 4, but it is far more comfortable and easy to do because of the way the track works to come in off that number 3 and 4 corner in a nice smooth trajectory. And here comes most everybody on the pit lane.
You know, we may see some just 2-tire stops. We may even see some gas and go. We've run 37 laps. Again, this tire really seems good here, so we may see some 2-tire stops or possibly just some gas and go.
Let's go to Glenn Sheriff.
And Jeff Green brings the number 8 car in. His teammate Elliott Sadler comes by right in front of him. Wes Ward, the crew chief, told me this will be a 4-tire change. They will not make any chassis adjustments. Jeff loves the way that the car is driving. They've got the right side, the left sides are going on. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, it's a 4-tire stop for Todd Bodine. He loves the way his car is handling too. The problem is when he gets up behind somebody, he gets really tight. He has to overwork it. So the guy who has clean air is the guy who's going to be pretty tough today. They played a little bit around with the air pressure, and they're going to take a a round out to loosen him up.
No pit stop for Jerry Robertson. He had stopped earlier. Shane Hall did not stop. Brad Payne didn't stop, nor did Jeff McClure. Everybody else, though, has been in for service at lap 38.
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Vans, the official vans of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
Back with you in Las Vegas. There's Steve Park making a pit stop yet again. Others are making secondary pit stops up and down the line. Glenn Jarrett.
Steve Park has come back in. They're going up with the left front. Oh, he's got a left front fender has been dented in on the left front tire. They put the roller on it. He's got some pretty substantial damage there. It's only sheet metal, but he's gotten into something somewhere, guys. But they appear to have gotten the tire or the fender off the tire right now, but it's going to kill him on his track position.
Now in the who's not and who's not department as far as pit stops are concerned. There you see Joe Nemechek, who had the lead. He's now 5th. Jeff Green backsliding. Elliott Sadler from 5th to 18th on that stop. Now Dale Jarrett, he was fuel only, but you've got to deal with tire strategy here.
Well, that's the thing. We've run 40 laps. What we got to remember is Dale changed 4 tires earlier. He couldn't afford to put 4 more on. That would only left him with 1 set to change under caution. So we'll see how it works out for him as the pace car comes off, and we're going to go racing here.
Green flag is in the air, and here we go back to green. That is the race leader, the number 40, Jerry Robertson. He did not pit in this most recent exchange. Greg Sachs, though, in the 45, that's that yellow and green machine, working to the outside, now the inside, and he's got himself a spot right there. So very, very quickly done for old Sachs.
Close call for Ron Barfield down there in 1 and 2. Jerry Robinson moved up and just about carried him to the top of the racetrack.
I don't think he knew Barfield was there.
So Greg Sachs now pulling away from second place, and there you see second place on back. Let's go down and get an update on the Barfield machine.
The reason he's up front there, Eli, they only changed 2 tires and put fuel in at that time. They had a great pit stop, gave Ron great track position. Also, we reported that Steve Park came back in with left front fender damage. That was done in the pits. They dropped the jack on the car on his first pit stop before the left front tire was off. It dented the fender and had to bring him back in.
So Greg Sachs, the leader, first time in 1997. He has led on the NASCAR Busch Series.
How fortunes changed. Last week in Atlanta, he was not fast enough to qualify. Yeah. This week in Las Vegas, Sachs is leading the race.
Last time he led, it was the race he won at Talladega. Remember that nail biter last year?
Sure do. In the 29 car, he won that race.
Indeed.
Yep.
3 wide right there. Working from 11th, 12th, and 13th spot. Riding with Phil Parsons. He's right behind Dick Trickle. They're running in 15th and 16th, and here comes Nemechek. Now, Joe Nemechek in the second car there, the 87, led the first 38 laps.
Look at Nemechek's car work on the bottom. He just goes through the middle, just carries a lot of speed through there, and that really helps him up off the corner and get down that straightaway. His car just working all the way around the racetrack, straightaways and corners.
He's not missing anything, is he? He's got a great motor in that thing. He's got a T&L engine under the hood. Some of the others do, but Nemechek seems to have figured out how to make the best of his situation.
Middle of the pack again. There's Phil Parsons, Elliott Sadler in the white machine. Right behind him, the Diamond Ridge Motorsports entry, Tim Bender in the 17.
This is the first time they've had a chance really to go 3 wide in practice and qualifying and that sort of thing. They don't do that. They just sort of try to keep the car in one piece as best they can, so they are still experimenting with this brand new racetrack.
45 laps complete. 200 making up the distance. That's 300 miles here. Here's second place now. Jeff Green, Greg Sachs. Here goes Todd Bodine.
Greg just can't keep his car on the bottom. Those guys are really alive through the middle of the corner.
And you know who was really counseling these fellows all week was Ron Barfield. He was out here, ran the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race out here last November, and he saw as the day went, the groove stayed low and even got a little lower. And he knew, and he was telling everybody, that's how you got to set your car up.
And he also had little help from the fellow who owns that car, a guy named Bill Elliott, who ran so well in that truck race. He finished, what, second out here, so they really had 2 setups to go with.
Michigan was back in the 1980s. That was the type of setup that he had under, in that distance, the truck that day, and now under the car here. That's Elliott Sadler and that white machine down low.
Jimmy Spencer right behind him in the number 20 car.
Dale Jarrett there in the mix, the 32 to the outside. Jimmy thought about going right through the middle there, you know.
He was wanting to, wasn't he?
Yeah, if it was a couple years ago, Jimmy would have gone through the middle, and we'd had an incredible wreck on our hands. But he's really learned how to cool it, hasn't he?
47 laps on the board. Jeff Fuller there at the head of that line goes around Barfield. Here comes Keller along with. They'll move up to 6th and 7th spot. Dale Jarrett, it's not been a vintage weekend yet. 15th spot right now, Matt, and they've had their hands full with a lot of engine problems.
It began on Friday. Before qualifying, they were on their third motor. John, Dale was complaining of maybe a cylinder missing. Any word on the engine now?
Yeah, I think we've broke a valve spring probably. This motor we ran at Atlanta, and it's got right many miles on it, but we ran in a situation we had some motor engine problems out here. But we're going to keep adjusting on the white rain forward here today, and car's still a little bit tight, so maybe we can outmaneuver these guys a little bit.
Well, the situation is they had to run the motor they used at Atlanta, so it had a lot of miles on it. So, of course, here in Las Vegas, they had the big gamble.
They had already changed a valve spring yesterday and then didn't even practice yesterday afternoon. Didn't want to risk their luck, and they had a valve guide problem, I guess, in the first two power plants earlier in the weekend.
And those motors were built by Robert Gates, and they have been on the telephone back and forth between North Carolina and here trying to get all that sorted out.
That's Michael Waltrip in the 21. He's on the move. Goes around Ron Barfield. A lot of racing going on. But Joe Nemechek is watching it all unfold in his rear view mirror. He's been dominant from the start. We're back to Vegas in a minute. That is the battle for the lead as you're looking at it live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Jeff Green has caught and now tries to pass Joe Nemechek, who has been dominant from the start.
Eli, I'm going to tell you, that's strong. When you pass Joe Nemechek on the outside, that's pretty strong.
And he ran him down to do it.
But he's not made the pass yet. He did lead at the stripe by inches.
He's going to get it done.
Down the backstretch,
I think. Joe doesn't agree, though.
No.
Not at all.
Joe's not going to give up.
He's real racy this weekend. He's been just so fired up about this whole deal. Yep, smoke out of the back of Nemechek's car. You can see it going into the corner.
Something just happened right there. Yeah, sure is smoking as he goes off into the corner.
Jeff actually starting to pull away just a little bit from him.
You know, it's interesting now. You've got Joe Nemechek, a Winston Cup star, obviously, but the man who is leading, part of the super team we had talked about when we came on the air, part of the Diamond Ridge Motorsports entry, Jeff Green. And then as you see the Napa running order across the top of the screen, look where the other super team guys are. You've got Todd Bodine now in third, teammate of Mike McLaughlin. So we're starting to see that theme develop just a bit. Of course, we're still early, only 57 laps in, but it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out as the day continues. Joy is off the pace in turn number 3 as the lead machines go by him. There you see Jeff Green, Joe Nemechek, and Todd Bodine, but the Fina colors now presenting themselves on pit lane. Randy LaJoie, in trouble in turn 4. Buckshot Jones and Ron Barfield. Buckshot Jones and Ron Barfield in the synchronized spin in turn 4. And we're under caution. Caution for the third time this afternoon. They were running 8th and 9th respectively. We'll talk about those fellas in a moment, but Glenn, what about Randy LaJoie?
Big problems for Ellie Mae, Eli. They're going under the hood. Steve Bird told me that they thought that they either had a broken valve spring or maybe a plug wire off of it. He's down to 7 cylinders. It sounded worse than that going by on the racetrack. They have pulled the car in behind the wall here at the end of pit road. That's the champion's pit spot, so that helped them out a lot. They didn't have to take it all the way behind the wall further down pit road, but you can see they're working furiously on it. Car does not sound good.
That machine has won at Nazareth. It has won at IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park, but it may not win today. Now back to turn 3 and 4. You see Ron Barfield has driven away. Buckshot Jones is still up there in the corner, and let's see what happened and get a look in what was a battle at the time for 8th and 9th.
There you see them side by side going through 3 and 4. Right there, Buckshot broke loose right there, and of course went up, probably tagged the left rear of Ron Barfield, and there they slide backwards. Buckshot taking a hard lick there to the outside wall. A lot of cars behind them here. You'll see them going low and going high, and of course Barfield sliding down, but fortunately nobody else was involved.
Ron Barfield on the pit lane. Buckshot Jones is still on the racetrack. There's the New Holland crew going to work. I'll tell you something. That young man right there, though, has a bucket full of talent.
Oh, does he ever?
Doesn't he, though? 25
years old. He is the heir apparent to Bill Elliott's operation, and a nicer young man you could not possibly hope to beat. And he is so laden with talent.
There you see him out of the car. A lot of damage to the left rear there.
Meanwhile, Base Motorsports, we talked about them over the last bit. 1995 through 97. Some pretty impressive numbers. 42 top 10s in 56 races right there. But there's the bell cow of the Base Motorsports team being worked on behind the pit wall. Now Joe Nemechek makes a pit stop. Lap number 60 is on the board. Matt, take us through it.
Well, Joe comes to a stop. Brian, Patty, and the crew are going to go to work. The problem is he's got some kind of fluid coming out of the shifter tunnel. They're not exactly sure what it is. They're going to have to jack it up. This is obviously a heartbreaker for Joe Nemechek. They have no idea how long this stop is going to be because they're not exactly sure what it is.
All of this under caution. The third caution of the afternoon at lap number 60. We continue at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. First ever time that NASCAR's Busch Series has come west. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Las Vegas 300 is brought to you by the more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Joe Nemechek back out onto the racetrack in the Bell South Mobility machine. He's been on the pit lane for service. They're still trying to figure out exactly what's amiss.
All right, we're going to catch up here with Brian Patty. Brian, what's the problem with the car?
We're just losing a lot of oil right now. We're trying to find a problem right now. We thought it might be an oil leak on the oil tank, but right now we can't find it. I'll talk to you later.
Well, they're going to bring Joe back in here in just a few seconds.
So here comes Joe Nemechek again to the attention of the crew as they try and figure out exactly what's amiss with the Joe Nemechek entry. Just going by, you saw Jeff McClure very briefly flick through your screen. He makes a pit stop here at lap number 61. Meanwhile, Buckshot Jones's machine still going back up onto the rollback out there in turn number 4. Not been a good weekend for Buckshot. He's a University of Georgia graduate, and he was pulling for the Bulldogs in the NCAA tournament. And they lost to Tennessee Chattanooga the other day in the opening round, so he was kind of down at the mouth all weekend anyway. And this certainly will be an unfitting finish to it. We're going to break away and take care of some business. We're coming right back. Working lap number 62. Joe Nemechek still on pit road. He has led twice for 49 laps today. Track cleanup continuing here after the spin out in turn 3 and 4. So it's a chance right now for us to take a look around this racetrack and look at all that goes on here. It's a magnificent facility. We'll be giving you a bit of a tour a bit later on as Richie Klein and I kind of spent time here on Thursday and Friday looking around this massive layout, some 1,500 acres here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as the field continues to work under the caution. Right now, why don't we do that? Let's take a look at what goes on here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as Peerless Faucets brings us this look at Las Vegas. Just across Las Vegas Boulevard from the Nellis Air Force Base is the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But Richie Klein, you're the president here, and I've got to be honest, I thought this place was bigger. Las Vegas Motor Speedway is only, what, 3/8 of a mile?
This particular one is, but it's the original track we first purchased in '89, and now there's 26 tracks here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
This particular track is still home to the NASCAR Winston Racing Series, but the telecast you're watching today of the NASCAR Busch Series is originating, well, just about 350, 400 yards across the way. That is the 1.5-mile super speedway, one of 26 different tracks in this magnificent motorsports complex. When the Pennzoil World of Outlaws run here, they use that half-mile dirt track. You want a drag strip? That one's up to NHRA specs, and there's motocross layouts if you're into that type of racing. Road courses your fancy? How about a 2-mile layout here in Las Vegas? Or how about a world-class go-kart facility? Not to mention the tracks within the track. So after our tour of the 1,500 acres here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's not surprising that for a bit of a break, Richie Klein and I have gravitated to one of the 102 luxury suites, and these are really beautiful. Who did the design work for you?
Paul Siebert designed a local company here in Las Vegas.
I dare say these were scarfed up fairly quickly, huh?
Of the 102, we have 3 left, so I'd say so.
So here we sit, middle of March 1997. When will everything be complete? When will this complex be 100% done?
We're hoping for our NASCAR event in June 6th and 7th of '97 this year, that everything will be done. It'll be a Southwest tour and a Winston West under the lights.
I'll tell you, if you've never been here, you owe it to yourself to visit what has become the crown jewel of Southwestern motorsports, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It really is a beauty. It is something very, very special. They had 6 different events going on out here one day a couple of weeks ago, from BMX and so on. If you're just tuning in, wondering where Winston Cup drivers are running right now, there you see Joe Nemechek. He has been dominant, but now with the pit stops, he has dropped back to 31st, and that's where you see the rest of the Winston Cup contingent and how they are running here in the early to mid stages of the Las Vegas 300. Glenn Jarrett, what about Randy LaJoie? Work still going on?
Eli, they changed everything in the electrical system down here, particularly the box. You can see they've got a new distributor cap and plug wires right there. You see the new ignition box. They did change the box, and he fired the car back up. They're going to bring him back in, though. When he took off, it sounded like it still had a pretty good miss to it, but at least it did fire up. The only good thing that you can say about all this, that all this time that they lost was under the caution.
Indeed it was, but the green is now flying, and here comes Jeff Green to the stripe with Todd Bodine and Jeff Fuller right behind him. That's the front 3 back into the corner. 66 of 200 laps complete. Ron Barfield has gone to the garage, so too has Buckshot Jones, if you're curious. Also, while you were away, it was a couple of laps behind the wall for Tracy Leslie, but the Lysol team is back out running again as well. Theo Fuller right there in 3rd, started 16th today. Finished 12th at Atlanta a weekend ago. That was his best finish of the year.
You want to watch it if he leads, though. Last year he led just 1 race. He wound up winning the thing. Hasn't led so far in 1997, but got a good run going for himself this afternoon here in Las Vegas. Fuller in the number 47 car, that blue and yellow car on your screen right now. From Auburn, Massachusetts. One of those modified drivers from New England.
He's here in 3rd. His last top 5 was the win he had at Bristol a year ago. Bodine, he's getting a little antsy there. That's Todd in 2nd. Jeff Green, the leader. Jeff took over the lead at lap 55. We're now at lap 68.
Bodine in that number 36, the yellow car, running in 2nd spot right now.
2 members of the multi-car teams we talked about, we signed on the air.
And both of these teams think they have championship caliber teams. They both think they've got a shot to be the national champions this year, both Green and Todd Bodine.
You know, Todd has finished all but 1 lap all year. Phil Parsons has run them all. Todd has run all but 1. There you've got Fuller outside of Keller and the 21. That's Michael Waltrip. They're battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Now, Michael has been here before, both in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and he also brought with him a car that he had bought from the Wood Brothers to run in the Winston West Series finale here in November of last year. So he's got some laps on this track.
And you know, as you mentioned, he wasn't very happy with his car yesterday, but evidently they made some changes this morning. Started 35th, has moved up to 4th, working on that third place car of Jason Keller right now.
Typical Michael Waltrip, though. I kind of eavesdropped. We were walking along, and here came Joe Nemechek after qualifying, and Michael didn't qualify well, and he'd been running well in practice, and Nemechek said, what happened? And we see some 3 wide, and problems in turn 2. Problems in turn 2 off that 3-way scramble. We've got Elton Sawyer in the Barbasol entry up against the wall of turn number 2, and we are under caution again here at lap number 71 as Elton Sawyer catches the corner. We were talking with Michael Waltrip and Nemechek said, Michael, what in the world happened during qualifying? And Michael said, oh, nothing. He said, I just decided to give you a head start for Sunday. He said, but I'll catch you. Typical Michael Waltrip. There's Elton Sawyer. Let's take a look and see if we can tell exactly what happened out there in the corner. It was a bit behind the rest of the pack of traffic.
See, he's already up against the outside retaining wall, against the left side. Makes you wonder if he maybe got a little bit loose down in the middle of that corner and the car just come around with him. Nobody else involved. A lot of damage to the left side of that car. Elton started 6th, but the day just hadn't went like I'm sure that they would like to it. He's been kind of backsliding all day.
Oh, fire under the car.
Yep.
They've cut an oil line or some kind of a line. He's got fire under the car as he goes into the pits. Lots of fire now. Bailing out. He's going to be out of that thing in a hurry. Watch.
Here comes Elton. You see the safety crew with the fire extinguishers. Clearly Elton is just fine.
Tell you, the safety workers was starting to come toward that thing before it even had stopped. Glenn, what can you add to it?
Can't add much to what's going on right now, but speculation is Elton was not happy about the way the car was driving, searching around trying to find a different groove. He had moved well up on the racetrack, and I suspect he may have gotten in some loose stuff, just like we saw him there when he spun it around over there off of 2. He was having to run awfully high on the racetrack.
That's Elton Sawyer, obviously okay. Meanwhile, in the garage area, Matt Yoakum is caught up with Roy Buckshot Jones, who was out after the incident back on lap 58. Matt?
Well, this is what's left of Buckshot Jones' Pontiac. Buckshot, what happened?
Our car is just getting a little bit loose, getting in the turns. And when we got underneath the rod, it just got our car a little bit too loose, and it just spun it out. Made him, maybe should have been a little bit more patient there, not try to be racing at the beginning of the race, but things just didn't fall our way today.
Well, coming into this race, he's coming off his best finish of a 4th last week at Atlanta. His average finish was 10.5. That number will take a beating today.
And you know what? We're going to see a big standings change also, because Elton Sawyer was 5th in the points. Buckshot Jones was 6th in the points. So we're going to see a pretty good shuffle atop the NASCAR Busch Series standings when we all head back east to Darlington. Welcome back live at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We have just now gone back to green just a half lap ago. There is the battle for the top spot. Jeff Green and Todd Bodine. They've been scrambling that way for the last little while, and the caution hasn't stopped it here. They go for the lead. Todd Bodine by inches, giving the top spot at the stripe. Lap number 75.
It's a dandy battle. Jason Keller right back there in the 57, watching it all.
Jeff Green's car has been working pretty good up in that second groove. There you see he kind of moves back on, Todd, and kind of takes the lead down the backstretch.
You got Michael Waltrip there in the 21. You've got Jeff Fuller right behind them in the 47.
Real busy up front of the pack right now.
You gotta love this.
I do. That's great.
Todd Bodine now will yield the lead to Jeff Green, with drafting help there through the main straightaway from Jason Keller. Meanwhile, Elton Sawyer in the garage area. Matt Yoakum, how's he doing?
Eli, his suit's a little singed. Elton, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Damn thing just caught on fire. I don't know. We went off into 1, and the 17 car got in the side of us. I don't know. I don't know.
Obviously a problem there with Elton Sawyer. We apologize. Little problem in the transmitting, but you got the gist of what Elton was about to say.
You know, when it goes wrong, it all goes wrong. First he crashes, then his microphone dies right in the middle of the interview, but the worst may not be over for Elton Sawyer. His wife is home. They are moving this weekend. She is handling all the cardboard boxes. I hope he still has some of his stuff when he gets there.
Yeah. 77 laps on the board. All of those machines right there on the lead lap, all scrambling for the top spot. Again, you see the rundown across the top of the screen. We'll keep that there for you all afternoon so you'll know who's where.
Jeff Green on the lead. They have been talking all weekend long about the motor under the hood of that car. That's a B&R engine. Call it a Hendrick engine if you like. Both Green and the 29 car, his teammate Elliott Sadler, Buckshot Jones also had one of those. Everybody here has said those engines are just incredibly strong, and this is definitely an engine track. You need a lot of horsepower to get you out of the corners here at Las Vegas, and the car in the lead sure got plenty of horsepower.
And he's also not only set up like Richmond, that is the same car he used to finish second at Richmond a few weeks ago. And again, you might question, how is this a 1.5 mile track with banked corners like a 3/4 mile short track in the Richmond Fairgrounds area? Doesn't look it, but it is.
It really is. Again, the corners are flat. There's not a lot of banking, and a good short track package seems like what's working the best. There you see Phil Parsons moving to the inside of Jeff Filler. Phil's car has been working good on the bottom since that last restart.
There's Phil. Then Fuller going up the banking of 12 degrees. Phil works that low side to grab the spot right there in the channel lock entry. Meanwhile, look what happened to Shane Hall. Let's go back a couple of laps ago and watch what happens to the number 85 machine. You'll see him. That was him.
It looked like the car just didn't want to turn right there. And again, drivers are the most impatient people on earth. If it won't turn, they're going to turn the wheel more and try to get back to that gas. It looks like he just run out of racetrack.
Typical crew chief talking, huh?
Ed Spencer the third in the garage. Jimmy Foster, Randy LaJoy, Buckshot Jones, Ron Barfield, Elton Sawyer. The 79, that's Brad Payne from Owensboro, Kentucky, off the pace as he works the main straightaway, letting everybody go by. Meanwhile, back up front, Jeff Green still holding Todd Bodine at bay. Todd atop the points for the first time since 1992. Little while. But he's matured as a driver, too. You like to see a guy pay off like that. Middle of the pack now, you see 96 Stevie Reeves. And the 40, that's Jerry Robertson. Reeves running in the 23rd spot. But the inside is open. That's Joe Nemechek in the 87.
And there's no smoke showing from that 87 at this point, Eli. Looks like whatever it was, they've got it fixed.
That's Dale Jarrett, the White Rain, entry number 32, the red hood with the white lettering you see coming at you.
Nemechek made at least 4 different pit stops with the hood up trying to fix that problem.
The last one was at lap 60. That was 22 laps ago. Here's Bobby Labonte in the 44, challenging to the inside of Stevie Reeves. That's 27th spot up for grabs there. Not been a great weekend for Bobby.
It really had, they felt like, I think, at the end of last year, they probably had one of the strongest Busch cars running week in and week out, but just hadn't quite got it going here. We still got 31 cars on the lead lap, and we've run over 80 laps, so that just shows you how strong the competition here is in Las Vegas.
So we work under green, lap number 83 of 200. We are just up Interstate 15, about a dozen miles from downtown Las Vegas, 15 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. And Jeff Green, all smiles. He's leading the parade right now. Las Vegas, Nevada. With all the attractions, there's a brand new one. The Las Vegas Motor Speedway hosting the NASCAR Busch Series. And we thank you folks for being on hand. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in here this afternoon. Big NASCAR doubleheader here on TNN. Early today, of course, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series down in Homestead, Florida. And today, the NASCAR Busch Series here in Las Vegas. on the racetrack. You see Jeff Green having stayed on the track, but here comes Todd Bodine. He is the first man to come down the pit lane. He's got Keller behind him and many, many others.
But now this is the second time that they could have pitted. Michael Walter pitted for a fuel only. I'm sure he did that because nobody else pitted. Matt Yoakum, you're in Todd Bodine's pits.
What Todd Bodine is saying about his Pontiac, it's going to be a 4-tire stop with sticker tires, while some guys today are going with scuffs because in practice it did show that the scuffs were a little bit faster for the longer haul. There was a little bit of problem on the right front tire of Todd Bodine. Let's go to Glenn.
And Elliott Sadler has brought his number 29. Oh, boy, they got a problem. The car fell off the jack, and there's fuel running everywhere on pit road. They got it back up now. They had a problem in the last pit stop they made. They've got the problem corrected now, but the car did fall off the jack. Elliott is down and away. But in the meanwhile, the number 8 car, the lead car of Jeff Green, has decided not to pit. I want to ask Wes Ward, the crew chief. Wes, a little bit of unusual strategy there. You guys decided to stay out. What's going on?
Can't go but 80 laps. We're looking at 125. We're as fast now as we've ever been. We seen yesterday that you can't wear these tires out. Car feels pretty good. We'll come in be able to go the rest of the way.
Well, there you have it. That's the strategy from the leader. If you can't wear the tires out, ain't no use to change them.
That's a tough call, but you know, he's in a situation where his car is good, but now everybody behind him has fresh tires, and that could be a contributing factor. But again, I don't envy Wes's call there. When you're leading the race and people come in behind you, there ain't a whole lot you can do about it.
That is Jeff Green. He's got Tim Steele right behind him now. You see the Phoenix Racing colors. Again, if you're late in joining us here today, that is now Tim Steele behind the wheel. He replaced a man who had been with the Finch team for years. That is Jeff Purvis, who'd been there for 350 wins, but they have now parted. Here's Todd Bodine back on the pit lane.
The problem with Todd Bodine was the air gun broke on the last stop. They were trying to get it fixed. They were losing too much time. They sent him back out. They're going to have to bring him back in, and now he's down and away.
Tough break right there, but this is a track where you can make up some distance. It's a track where if you're hooked up, and certainly Todd is, you can do some passing.
We still got a lot of racing to go. We're not even halfway. Again, you can run side by side. It's not like a Martinsville or something like that where it's a one-groove racetrack and you can't pass. So it's Todd. He's got a strong race car. He can get back to the front.
Todd said to me, this track feels to him like Phoenix International Raceway. Yeah, it's amazing. You talk to these guys, and everybody says it reminds them of someplace different.
Well, I think from a crew chief standpoint, that's the first frame of mind that you got to get yourself in. It's like, okay, where do I need to start with this race car? What racetrack looks like this and has the characteristics of that? And that's a good starting point for a setup.
Lap number 88 of 200 here this afternoon. You're watching it all on TNN Motorsports. The leader right now is Jeff Green. Tim Steele is second. Mike Dillon, Greg Sachs, and Shane Hall. We're coming right back. Duraloo bringing us the overhead pictures here today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. There are the front two, Jeff Green and Tim Steele, as they work through this caution period. This is the 5th caution of the afternoon when Joe Pesci lost an engine going off into turn number 1. Hey, have you had a chance to go under the NASCAR Thunder stores, the official store of NASCAR? They are open at those locations. You see the Gwinnett Place Mall in Atlanta, the Haynes Mall in Winston-Salem, Westtown Mall in Knoxville, and the Vista Ridge Mall in Dallas, Texas. And here in 1997, lots of new stores opening up. As a matter of fact, 10 to 12 locations will be announced throughout the year. NASCAR Thunder, the official store of NASCAR, and what is likely to be opening up near you very, very soon. Todd Bodine making the second stop. You heard the fellas talk about a while ago with the problems they had during the tire change. Of course, he's had a pretty good year. Compare the numbers here in 97, actually the last 5 years, if you will, to the previous 5. Of course, this year has been second at Daytona, a fine finish at Rockingham, 7th at Richmond, 6th a week ago at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So it's been a good year for Todd Bodine.
They've really got their stuff together. He was basically with this same team back several years ago, left in order to go Winston Cup racing. That didn't quite work out, and he's kind of back at home again because Clyde was his crew chief back then for 3 full years when he drove the 34.
That is Jeff Green. He is the leader. He is the 2nd. Mike Dillon, Greg Sachs, and Shane Hall. We're coming right back.
Duraloo bringing us the overhead pictures here today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. There are the front two, Jeff Green and Tim Steele, as they work through this caution period. This is the 5th caution of the afternoon when Joe Pesci lost an engine going off into turn number 1.
There's the point standings right now, and at least the guys who are the point leaders and what they have done. Starting ninth, currently 26th. Randy LaJoy, he's not had a good day with his problems of earlier. Matt Yoakum still checking up on that Stanley Tools team.
Clyde, boy, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it?
The Stanley Pontiac's running well on the racetrack, but we are having us one bad day in here, I'll tell you. We had an air wrench break and couldn't get the other one over fast enough. Had to pit twice, so we'll be all right. We still got to get gas again, make one more stop, so it'll give us another chance to adjust and see how we're going to do.
You're at the back of the pack. Are you going to come in and top off before we go back to green?
Well, I was thinking about it, but we're showing quite a bit shy, so there's no sense of doing that. I'm just going to wait until I know I'm safe and pit one more time.
A little bit of frustration down here in the Stanley Tools pit, Eli.
There you see Dale Jarrett. He's been into the attention of John Irvin and Digger and all the guys who have made the trip out here. 301 starts for Dale Jarrett. He is the veteran in NASCAR Busch Series competition.
You're not going to see too much more of him. He's about ready to hand that ride over to his son Jason, who is in the garage area today looking on, anxiously anticipating it.
As a matter of fact, when TNN goes to Hickory in a couple of weeks on Saturday, March 29th for the Galaxy Food Centers 400, Jason the Jet Jarrett is going to be in the field. He has tendered the entry. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has filed an entry. I see where they've named Ernie Irvin as the Grand Marshal for that weekend. And of course, we'll have it for you right here on TNN Motorsports coming up in a couple of weeks from Hickory. Green flag is in the air, and Jeff Green is in the wind and gone.
We'll see for how long without those fresh tires.
That's going to be a story.
The only thing he may have going for him is there's a lot of cars between him and the cars that actually took tire zone, and obviously he's stretching that lead out here through the first set of corners, so he may be in good shape, because these guys that did change tires, they've got a lot of traffic to work with their fresh tires.
Here's a good group right there. Terry Labonte in the 5. Tim Bender to his outside, the 17. You got Steve Park in the 3. We're riding with Phil Parsons right in the middle of all that mix. That scramble is back in 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and on back. Jimmy Spencer there in the 20.
Oh, wow.
He goes by Dick Trickle. You see that heart on the dashboard there of Trickle's machine? Got a quick glimpse of it. That's for Chris Trickle. We had talked about it earlier. Look at Tim Bender go. The 17 and Jeff Fuller in the 47.
And Bender demolished his primary car here in practice and said it took him a while to get his confidence back to really want to go quick. He surely has it back right now, didn't he? Keller in the 57 having a great run. He's right at the head of this group.
Wallace, a stop and go penalty on the pit lane for excessive speed on pit road moments ago. About the 3 wide. You know, this also reminds you of watching racing in Michigan years ago, and there was so much going on you didn't know where to look next.
Like you can pass in the corners, you can pass on the straightaway, you can get up out of that bottom groove and you're still in good shape.
And we're seeing more and more 3 wide as this race unfolds. Remember, right early on, we saw just one of those, and then we went a whole bunch of laps before we saw another one. Now it's getting to be kind of routine that we're running 3 wide.
We're not even halfway. You see 106 remaining.
Oh, wow. Tight.
Who's going to give? Trickle to the inside. Bender in the middle. Hermie Sadler in the 136. Todd Bodine. Glenn Allen the 99.
I don't believe Todd Bodine will have a problem getting
something's wrong with Fuller. The 47 just pulls out of traffic and goes to the low side of the racetrack. 4 wide.
Well, if we're 4 wide at halfway, what's going to happen at the end of this thing?
8 wide.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Fuller's going to head to the garage. That's too bad. He was having a great day.
Yeah, Jeff Fuller is coasting around the racetrack now. Does not even look as though he's under power, but what about Terry Labonte right there? He's working to the low side of the racetrack there on the number 5 machine. Stevie Reeves. Oh, they touched.
A little bit of tire smoke there.
Yep, they touched.
Interesting strategy by Terry Labonte. He came in without as much engine as some of the other teams. He said, we're just running a little bit short on horsepower, so his strategy is to not slow down at all. The plan is to make that car run absolutely as fast at the end of a run as at the beginning of the run, because there's nothing they could do to get more horsepower, so they spent their focus on chassis.
Boy, this is breathtaking stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Reeves just gave a couple inches there. Glenn Allen muscles his way through.
These guys are running 3 wide off the corner. It's one thing to go into the corner 3 wide, but when you can run 3 wide off of a corner, that shows you that a racetrack is built for some good racing.
Riding with Dick Trickle. Jeff Fuller has taken his car into the pit lane, but one would assume the garage will be the next stop. There's Michael Waltrip. There's Joe Nemechek. Everybody's in the mix here right now. What is Michael Waltrip saying, Glenn?
Well, guys, they had a mix-up on that last pit stop. We wondered why he came down pit road when nobody else did. Well, that's because the pits were closed. He and crew chief Ronnie Silver were talking about it, deciding whether they needed to stop for gas or not, trying to figure the mileage to where they could only go on maybe one more stop. And while they were talking about it, Michael dipped down on pit road, looked up and said, why is nobody else here? Ronnie said, well, Michael, that's because pit road is closed. So he had to go to the end of the pack. He's got an awfully good race car, working his way back up through traffic now.
Coming to halfway this time behind the race leader, Jeff Green. Joe Nemechek, Stevie Reeves, Keller, Mark Green. And there's the man who's showing the way on a different pit strategy than the others. It's not costing him. He's just getting gone. We're coming right back. Back with you in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Las Vegas 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series. It's a 4.5-second lead for Jeff Green right now. Meanwhile, another Jeff not having nearly as good of a time. Jeff Fuller is in the garage area. Let's hear from him. Phil Parsons there. We'll hear from Fuller in just a moment. Phil Parsons along with Tim Steele. Let's check in again with Matt Yoakum in the garage area.
Well, Jeff, obviously something broke under the hood. What was it?
The front snout on the crankshaft broke and it spit the oil belt off, but the Sunoco Chevrolet was running great. It really feels good. The guys work good together. The car was running good. We drove up to third and finish one, but I'm happy with the way we ran today.
Well, he came in here for 16th with points with Combs, but obviously he won't be.
Nope, tough day, but he does manage a bit of a smile and a wave as he heads back. Randy LaJoie is back on the racetrack. For those of you who follow the ups and downs of the driver from Norwalk, Connecticut, he has been behind the wall for an extended stay, but is now back on the Speedway. Lap 106 on the board. There's Jimmy Spencer in the 20, Michael Waltrip the 21, Steve Park in the 3. They're all running back in the 7th, 8th, 9th positions right now. Mike Dillon just ahead of them in the 6th position. Car number 72. The Detroit Gasket entry running well here today also.
Jimmy's really got a strong car. He pulls it right down below the white line almost with those left side wheels. It goes underneath Mike Dillon up on the back straightaway. Jimmy's really, I don't know if they made some adjustments on that car early, but he is really coming on now.
And it's good medicine, too, because Jimmy had the flu or something here on Thursday. He looked all pale, looked terrible. He said, I just don't feel worth the darn. I saw him this morning and said, how you doing? He said, I'm a little bit better. He said, I'm ready to go racing. I'm sure he's feeling all right about now.
Yeah, you get a good car on you, and it's amazing how well a fella can feel. There's no cold medicine that works as well as passing cars.
A good race car will cure a lot of illnesses.
No doubt about it. We're at lap 108, 92 remaining. We told you earlier that Elton Sawyer took the Barbasol car to the garage after his accident at lap number 71, the ensuing flames that came out of the car. Matt, how's he doing there? Has he been checked out and all?
Eli, I just talked to Elton. He has second-degree burns on the left side of his neck and first-degree burns on his left elbow. Believe it or not, they're working on the car, and if they can get it fixed, he's going to go out and try to earn a point.
Well, that'd be something, wouldn't it, if he can get back out there. Elton Sawyer, we did talk to him earlier, if you weren't along at that time, and just a tough afternoon for old Elton.
Steve Parkin, the 3, is having a good afternoon for himself as well. They demolished a car trying to qualify. Tried to get this car that he's running right now going well. They had a lot of trouble with it. In the very last 15 minutes of practice yesterday, they found out what was wrong. When he hit the wall, believe it or not, he bent the accelerator pump lever in the carburetor. They found it 15 minutes before practice ended. Otherwise, he would have been in the back of the pack if they hadn't found that.
And that is 8th, 9th, and 10th. You're looking at it on the screen now with Park, Greg Sachs in the 45, Elliott Sadler in the 29.
And in the midst of trying to find his carburetor problem, I think they was changing engines left and right, trying to zero in on what the problem was.
Caution is coming out for debris on the racetrack. One machine just dropped a piece of debris. I believe Brad Payne, as he was going through the corner, had something come off the car, and he has quickly come down the pit lane. And caution is on the speedway for debris. It is at lap number 112 as the leaders will come by right here. So caution for the 6th time, debris on the speedway. There's the race leader, Jeff Green. Different pit strategy, but he's holding everybody at bay right now. We're coming back to Las Vegas. More on TNN in just a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Las Vegas 300 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Peerless Faucet, the do-it-for-yourself faucet. 112 laps on the board. We have seen pit stops for Jeff Green. We have seen Jeff Purvis's former ride, now with Tim Steele behind the wheel. He's been in for a stop. Mike Dillon has been in. Tim Fedowa pitted. Bobby and Terry Labonte and many, many others all coming in for pit stops. Meanwhile, Jeff Green was the race leader. He'll hand the lead off to Phil Parsons, who does not pit here, Glenn Jarrett.
Once again, we're with Wes Ward, Jeff Green's crew chief. And Wes, I saw you talking to Jeff. You didn't want to come, it didn't look like, but you did anyway.
Nah, we probably needed about 5 more laps. It's going to be real close. We got a good race car. Like I said before, you can't wear these tires out. It was just going to be a gas situation. If I could have got to 115 or 120, you know, it would have been a for sure, and it's still a possibility now. Debating right now whether gas and go here before we go back.
Interesting strategy. He's already at the rear of the field. Why not? There's only 8 or 10 cars behind him. He has no trouble driving by him. They just don't know if they can stretch it that many laps, guys.
It's going to be a gamble, but heck, we're in Las Vegas. You're supposed to gamble. While we've got time, let's bring you an AutoZone Tech Fact brought to you by more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Earlier this weekend, the crew guys on Elton Sawyer's Barbasol Ford were working really hard to try to find just the perfect setup for Elton to give him optimum speed on the racetrack. They changed springs, they changed tires, they changed shocks, they put the car on the scales, and they... Wait a minute, there's 2x4s down there. What do we need 2x4s on a race car for? Rick Cade, one of the crew members, will tell us exactly why we have wood in the race car.
Yeah, to get the nose weight off the car, we have to move the lead around, and when you do that, you have excess space. So for the excess space, we use these 2x4s, slide them down in the rails, takes care of all that excess space. We try to get this car as best we can for our driver, and hopefully this Barbasol Ford will be up front.
Well, the nose weight on a race car, normally about 51%, but they can slide that weight back and forth in the frame rail to change that whenever they need to.
Interesting, Glenn. And of course, Larry, you know there's no chance of anything ever going wrong with that, is there?
Oh, yes, there is. If you look at those Richard Childress cars or even those Robert Yates cars, we got away from the wood and went to light steel or aluminum tubing. In '92 at Daytona, Davey kept complaining about something burning, and what had happened, the wood in the frame rail right over the exhaust pipe had actually caught fire, and we had to get it out after the race because it was actually blazing. So,
Interesting. You never know. We talked about the super teams, the multi-car teams on the NASCAR Busch Series. That's how these fellas are doing this afternoon. Jeff Green now 17th, Elliott Sadler in 7th, Todd Bodine from 9th to 2nd. We'll keep following those fellas as the day continues, but Time now to watch a battle for the lead. Green flag is in the air. Bill Parsons is that blue machine behind the lapped cars. You got Mike Wallace in the 7 and Randy Porter in the 48 just ahead of them. But the leader is the man we're riding with, Phil Parsons in the channel lock entry. Behind him, Todd Bodine, Dick Trickle, Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer right there, the 20. Elliott Sadler, the 29. The 3 is Steve Park. Lap 115, 85 laps from the finish. You know, Glenn, if anybody can really go 90 laps like some of them said they could, with the altitude being what it is here and the jetting of the engine and so on, they're right there.
The fuel mileage right now in Jeff Green's pit, guys, what they do is they weigh the amount of fuel that was left in the can to see exactly how much they did get in there. They know how much the fuel weighs per gallon, so they know how much they've used. They compare it to the number of laps. And boy, I'm telling you, they're in serious concentration and huddle here right now, looking at the laps. This is Jeff's wife. She's got keeping the lap chart. So they're looking at everything possible. They're going to try to stretch this thing. Of course, if they get another caution flag, obviously they'll come back in. Jeff did not come in and top off, as Wes said he might. But you can bet that he's trying to conserve fuel at every opportunity. But how do you do that? Trying to work your way back up through the pack, Larry.
Well, you know, this fuel mileage figure, and it's a tough situation. And, you know, we talk about fuel mileage, and so I wanted to kind of share with the fans just a lot of people use a lot of different formulas for figuring fuel mileage, but you just take the amount of laps that you run and you multiply it by the size of the racetrack. In case of Las Vegas here, 1.5, divide that by the gallons, and that gives you the miles per gallon. Then you multiply that by the size of the tank, which in the case of these Busch Grand National cars is 22 gallons, and divide that by the size of the track again, and that'll tell you how many laps you can run. Now, what figures into the equation is caution laps, and I would say here at Las Vegas, you run 2 caution laps to 1 green flag lap, so that could be the factor that determines the outcome should it come to the fuel mileage.
And that factor right there was Todd Bodine in the Stanley entry going around the channel lock car, so give Todd Bodine the race lead here at lap number 119.
But these lap cars in front of him have got to be driving these 2 guys nuts. Todd Bodine and the number 36 and Phil Parsons in the 10 have had to contend with Porter and Mike Wallace in front of them.
This shows you just how strong Todd Bodine is, though. It wasn't 25 laps ago. He was sitting back in 27th position after that pit stop problem.
Working around the lapped car of Randy Porter in the number 48. Again, Mike Wallace in the number 7. He had that stop and go penalty earlier. He's in 29th spot in Ed Whitaker's number 7 entry. Riding with Dick Trickle. Dick's had a good day. He's in 4th. Just ahead of him, the Band-Aid colors. That's Michael Waltrip in the number 21. Lap 120. Michael's starting to rumble here a little bit.
And it's a real surprise. They were very... Oh, trouble!
Hold on.
Like I was saying about those lap cars. Parsons off the pace.
Yeah, Phil had to really stomp on it right there. He's now back in line, as you see, and he's keeping pace again with Michael Waltrip. Had to catch his breath.
That's a nice shot, isn't it?
That's Trickle battling with Steve Park. Elliott Sadler now in the 29. Working to the inside of Dick Trickle. That's coming out of turn 4 right there. 74, Randy LaJoy. Remember, Randy has been behind the wall a good bit here today. He has only run 83 of the 122 laps. He's back in 36th position right now.
Spencer on the outside of him. They've got LaJoy's car fixed, but he's 70 laps down. He has got no chance at all for a good finish this afternoon.
Lap 122. Oh, up he goes, and Mike Wallace contact. Oh, and there goes Killer. They have your basic mess in turn 4. Lap 123, caution.
Tim Bender involved as well.
A lot of guys going down pit road at high speed just to escape the accident scene. You see the broadside car, that's Jason Keller rolling down the banking, 57, there he is.
I believe that's Joe Nemechek involved as well.
Yep. Tim Bender is well bent.
Yep, Tim Bender is. Boy, tough day for the Nemechek clan, with John having an accident in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. Here's Joe Nemechek's battered Bell South mobility machine. Mike Wallace was involved, remember. He was maybe the first to break loose. You see Joe moving around in the car. He's already dropped the window net that you see draped over the side there. That's a sign to the NASCAR officials that you're okay. Tim Bender, meanwhile, there he is. And again, you see him moving around in the Kraft singles entry. Let's go back up to turn 4 and see what happened again, guys.
Here you see Todd Bodine going to the inside. Todd got down a little bit on the apron, and he may have got actually up into Mike Wallace, so it might have not been Mike Wallace's fault right there. Todd just got those wheels too low, and Mike Wallace goes up and hits the outside retaining wall. And here you see Jason Keller coming backwards, I'm sure, trying to figure out how to avoid the accident. And Joe Nemechek gets involved.
Watch the guys to the right there. They're going to come down pit road at full speed just to avoid all of those spinning cars. And if you're curious, that does not bring out a penalty. You know, there is a pit road speed limit, but that's under controlled circumstances, not here. And watch the 8 car. See how lucky he is.
Looked like Jason Keller may have checked up right there, and Jeff Green got in the back of Jason Keller. That may have been what happened right there.
But look how he avoided Mike Wallace, too, in the 8 machine. Jeff
That
Green.
is great driving.
And Sachs just did miss Mike Wallace. Yanked that machine down the pit lane. Caution at lap 123. Turn number 4, but you're right. Look as though Todd's car got onto the apron of the racetrack and wiggled.
And that's what'll happen. You drop your left side wheels down on the apron. A lot of times that'll shoot the car back up the racetrack, and that looks like what happened right there.
So a good bit of cleanup here at lap number 125. We'll take the opportunity to break away and take care of a little business, and we return with Michael Waltrip now showing the way. He is the new leader in Las Vegas. A lot of cleanup still going on from the Duralube aerial camera. You see Jason Keller's car going to the garage. The Tim Bender car still going up on the rollback. So we've got the chance for Larry McReynolds to show you a very interesting tech fact. A little bonus from Larry Mack here at Las Vegas.
For a number of years, some of the great action shots that you people have been getting at home from TV has been from the roof cam. Now, what we've learned and what I know through some wind tunnel tests, that this roof cam here, it can sure help the performance of the race car. It puts downforce on that rear spoiler. It directs the air back there and plants the rear of the car. Also, it hurts drag just a little bit, but with the exception of Daytona and Talladega, we don't care about paying a penalty on a little bit of drag for the downforce that we buy. Now, NASCAR after Atlanta last week took 3 makes of the best performing cars at Atlanta to the wind tunnel to find out what the differences was. Now, what they did find, they also found that that little roof cam puts downforce on the rear of these cars. They're working hard to make sure that the cars that run the roof cam don't have an advantage over the other competitors. One thing that we could see happen is they might let every car run that roof cam shell, and then the ones that selected to run the camera will put the guts of the camera inside. That way everybody will have the same amount of downforce. But as they further study these tests, if they find that maybe it affects one make more than the other alternative may be take the roof cams off, and TV will have to find another way to give you those great shots.
Maybe we'll have to go with a crew chief cam or something. You can wear it with you. We're looking at that roof cam now as Dick Trickle takes you down the pit lane to the attention of his crew. They have just now opened up the pit road. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Todd Bodine is still complaining about the 36 car being tight. Clyde McLeod is throwing everything at it, trying to loosen it up. They're going to try it again here with air pressure to try to loosen it up a little bit. But still, he went from 26 to 4th over the last window. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, Matt, the very same thing down here in Jeff Green's pit. They came in to top off the fuel. His car also was a little bit tight, so they made an air pressure adjustment on his on the right front as well to try to loosen the car up just a little. Jeff said it was coming to him, but They wanted to take no chances to make the car as good as it was before they stopped, put tires on a while ago. So everybody should be good to go from here on out. Interesting note, in the Gary Bechtel pits, the 8 car and the 29 car pitted side by side here. Greg Pozzi usually jacks for the number 8 car. He's a diabetic. He had a seizure right before the race started, had to go to the hospital. He's back now. He is fine. He's absolutely okay. This time he jacked for the 29 car because, as I'd reported earlier, they had some problems with the jack, man. The car fell off the jack twice. So Greg Pozzi forced into duty today, even though he had a diabetic seizure. He couldn't wait to get back to jacking.
Interesting story on the pit lane from the garage area. We'll tell you Elton Sawyer has just returned to the racetrack, so repairs are done to the Barbasol machine. We're coming right back. From high above Las Vegas Motor Speedway, you're looking down on the race leader. That is Steve Park. He takes the lead at lap number 128. Tim Steele is right behind him. This is from a helicopter. That is right there, hovering over top the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And they're using a new camera today. That white thing on the bottom, that's a microwave unit that is used to send the picture back to the truck and then up to a satellite and then eventually out to you. The new cameras call it Gyron. Look at how smooth and stable that is. And even if the helicopter bounces around and goes a little side to side, that Gyron camera will give you an absolutely spectacularly smooth shot. Incidentally, our helicopter pilot is a guy named Larry Welk, Lawrence's grandson.
Really?
Myron Florin is not on the helicopter, however.
How about Joe Feeney? Is he here today?
No.
But right now, it's an interesting note. The new, I'll tell you, the technology. You know, we're sitting here talking, Larry and Mackey talking about roof cams, and they're going to lay it down, they have to move it, how it affects different makes and models differently. I mean, not that many years ago, Dale Inman drove a race car from Randleman to Riverside so Richard Petty could drive it. I mean, run what you brung, literally. And now we're talking about the technology of laying down roof cams and gyrocopters and so on. It's amazing.
It really is. You know, I've been in this sport 17 years, and I couldn't imagine it even growing half of what it's grown the last 17 years as far as technology. But you know what? I bet it will.
I don't think there's any end to it. There's too many smart folks around. I was impressed with all the calculations you were doing there earlier with the ciphering all the gas stuff for us, as we say back home. That was pretty good. Green flag is in the air. We're back to business now at lap number 131. 200 laps makes up the total distance. Steve Park, that blue and white machine, is the leader. The 48, Randy Porter, not on the lead lap.
What a story on Park, your leader. Remember, he crashed during qualifying. He had early trouble, had to pit because he had a fender into the tire. And look at him running toward the tail end of the race. And this kid is leading the show.
And you know, it's been an up and down year, but this is supposed to be the up week for him. I mean, he was 7th at Daytona, 32nd at Rockingham, 3rd at Richmond, 42nd at Atlanta, so he's supposed to be up near the front here today. But here comes the challenge from Tim Steele. Got him. Tim Steele taking over for Jeff Purvis. Shows the way off into turn number 1.
Yeah, Steele's auditioning for this job. This is a one-race deal. And he said, well, if they offered to me, I'd probably take it. He got it because he ran 2nd to Kenny Schrader in the Winston West race here last year. And he obviously learned something. Look at this kid Steele on the bottom.
He has 12 ARCA Super Speedway wins, does Tim Steele, the all-time Super Speedway race leader. That is he in the number 4. Here comes Mike Dillon. He's in 3rd, the 72. Elliott Sadler, the 29. He's in 4th. Michael Waltrip right behind them in the 21. He's running in 5th. Glenn, that's a heck of a story for Steele.
It is, and this is a great race going on the racetrack right now. This is a super racetrack, but I also talked to Steele this morning. I asked him if the ride were offered to him, could he take it? Was he obligated to do the ARCA races? He said, no, man, said, I can do anything I want to do. If I want to go Busch racing and they offer me this ride, that's what I'll do. Making a great showing right now. This is a wonderful, wonderful show, guys.
There is a super race, and we should mention as Dillon now takes the lead. Steele relegated to 2nd. Look at the scramble behind him. You've got Michael Waltrip in the 21 to the inside of Park now. That's 3rd and 4th spot. Here comes Phil Parsons, with whom we're riding. He's in the top 10.
And the first 4 guys in this pack have never won a Grand National race. And what an afternoon they are all having. Well, 3. Michael Waltrip's in there now. He's won them before.
See Elliott out of Mike Dillon. What you got to remember, I think Elliott has had a good race car all day, but he's been trying to recover from 2 pit stops that cost him a lot of time on the racetrack.
And they brought in Billy Wilbur to change the front tires on Sadler's car, flew him in.
You talk about hybrid crews. Johnny Allen from the...
Michael Waltrip off the pace.
Yeah. Something's wrong with Michael Waltrip as he works the high side of the racetrack. He gets back in line now and steps on the button again. I was going to say that Johnny Allen, who's normally the crew chief for the James Finch team, he is turning the wrenches here this weekend, though Tom Sokolowski and some of the other fellas from Steele's normal ARCA team have made the trip out here as moral support, if nothing else. Let's go to the garage area. Matt Yoakum.
Joe, that Bell South car was pretty fast all weekend, but what's the challenge?
Awesome. You know, the race, Bell South Mobility Chevrolet was awesome. Just got caught there. We were limping around. Something happened to the engine, and we were blowing oil out and kind of running on 7 cylinders there. We were still coming back up through the pack, and something happened. A lap car up front got spun around, and all of a sudden Jason Keller just slid up in front of me. Had nowhere to go. Thought I was clear and everything, and it just bit me. But the guys built a heck of a car. Got to thank Bell South. This Las Vegas racetrack is awesome, and this is really, really fun. Can't wait to come back.
Well, in Reese this year, he had 2 top 5s, and that streak will not go on today.
No, it will not. Mike McLaughlin also apparently losing an engine as he came by us here on the main straightaway. Though there you see the first, second, and third place machines. You've got Steele, Elliott Sadler. Here comes Todd Bodine. Todd, who was led earlier today twice, is now grabbing second spot.
McLaughlin's going to have to pit. He belted the wall in the process of that trouble. You see how the right front is lower to the racetrack than the left front. He hit it a pretty good one, Eli.
He gave it a shot. Mike McLaughlin.
I think he got just a little bit high coming off turn 4 and went up there and got that outside wall.
Lap 138.
Tim Steele is certainly doing a great job in his first ride in this car. I asked Tim right in front of crew chief Johnny Allen, I said, can you be sure that you're going to get this ride the next week? And Allen looked at me and said, the easiest thing to change in a car is the name on the roof and the seat of the car.
Taking it right down to the basics there.
Yeah. Todd Bodine on the bottom, looking for the lead, and he's got it again. Or has he? Whoa!
Elliott Sadler. Caution.
Hits the outside wall.
There goes Robertson spinning now as he locks it up to try and avoid Jerry Robertson in his first NASCAR Busch Series race. And the leader is going to be still Tim Steele as they come to the stripe. Todd Bodine making no effort to bypass him. And we are under caution. Caution at lap number 140. There's Elliott Sadler.
It's hard to believe no more cars got involved in that one. That was a third place car that was spinning like that in front of that big group.
Yeah. The end of what had been a spectacular day for Elliott Sadler.
He just had overcome and had got back to the front from what he had experienced on pit road, and not a good day. A lot of damage to that car.
He'll not win today, but he will win. Oh, that thing's a mess.
Yeah, it is.
How can he see where he's going?
Just a little bit right there. Out of that deep left corner. Heck, it was like Morgan Shepherd driving there the other day at Richmond, I guess it was, when the hood came up in front of the car. You do it by feel.
Braille.
A lot of work now for the Diamond Ridge Motorsports team. A lot of work to be done as Tim Steele is leading the Busch Series race in Las Vegas. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway under caution. This caution coming out on the eighth caution of the day, lap number 140. And let's go again off of turn number 2.
You see they go through turn 2. Right there, it looked like Todd Bodine got just a little bit loose right there. Maybe Elliott Sadler made him loose, and then Elliott gets loose and comes on around. Todd straightens his up. Steve Park nowhere to go, but Elliott slid up out of the way just in time for Steve to get by. Elliott hits the outside wall real hard with the front end.
And there you see the others spinning. Jerry Robertson behind them, but like you said, miraculously, as close as they were all running, nothing further there. Let's take one more angle, riding with Dick Trickle.
Saw the done got loose and just nowhere to go and come on around and hit that outside wall.
One more look again.
Hello, wall.
Park was real lucky, too, that the Red Sea parted like it did, didn't he?
Well, he's also lucky from a standpoint that nobody hit him from the rear as he was slowing down trying to figure out which way to go.
He's also lucky he has as much talent as he does. I mean, let's face it. For those of you who were with us earlier today on TNN Motorsports in Homestead for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, you know that John Nemechek had an accident that brought out the red flag and he had to be extricated from his truck. We have just been given through NASCAR the official statement that was released just a bit ago at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. Dr. Steve Olvey, who is the track medical director at the Homestead Motorsports Complex, reports that John Nemechek is in extremely critical conditions, though his vital signs remain stable. He has been admitted to the neurosurgical intensive care unit at Jackson Memorial Hospital's Ryder Trauma Center that is in Miami, where he is being treated by Dr. Olvey and Dr. Philip Villanueva. So that is the update we have at this moment, that John Nemechek is in extremely critical condition, though they say his vital signs remain stable, and that was a statement released in South Florida and brought to us here, and NASCAR just passed it along to us as well. So that's the latest we have on John Nemechek, and certainly everybody here hoping and praying that he will be able to bounce back in full from those injuries of today. There you see the NASCAR Busch Series point leaders and how they are running today. Mark Martin still on the couch back home in Daytona Beach, Florida. Not entered here today. But there'll be some shakeups in the points. We're coming right back. We are at lap 145 of 200. The Las Vegas 300 is under caution after Elliott Sadler, Jerry Robertson had their little spin. There you see the work being done on the Diamond Ridge Motorsports entry for Elliott Sadler. Matt Yoakum's in the garage area.
Well, Elliott sits in complete frustration. Elliott, what happened?
Well, really not sure. Bodine and Tim Steele slowed up a lot, and I checked up, I thought, and I got in the back of Bodine a little bit, and I don't know if anybody got in the back of me or not. I really couldn't feel it. Just the car got loose all of a sudden. This is not what we want to do. We want to try to finish the race today, but I don't know if we'll be able to get this Chevrolet Monte Carlo back out there or not. We'll see what happens.
Well, they came in today with this car. The 2 times he's run this car, he's gotten his career best finish of 5th, and he qualified 6th. So today, he qualified 2nd, and he thought this car would take them to victory lane.
And he wanted to be around at the finish again. The purse of $885,000 plus, the second largest, second only to the Gargoyles 300 at Daytona. There you see the right rear of Jimmy Spencer's Zippo Chevrolet. He's got some sheet metal that's bent in there on the right rear.
He walked somebody pretty good.
Yeah.
To bend it that far.
That's going to be pretty close to rubbing when they get up to speed. And as deep as he is in the field, I believe I'd consider coming in and making sure we didn't have a problem under green.
Jimmy Spencer, he's running in 10th. So, you know, you got to, you're deep enough for it to be a problem, but close enough to the front that you don't want to give up track position.
Right, he's right in the middle. There's 20 cars on the lead lap with 54 laps to go. It's a tough call. A lot of times what they'll do in a situation like this is he'll drive up beside another car, and the 2 spotters will communicate what it looks like through their drivers, and they'll radio the pits and say it looks okay or looks like it might be rubbing.
Track cleanup now winding its way down, but the field has yet to get the 1-to-go signal. They're coming off of turn number 4. Again, you see right there on Trickle's dashboard, you see that blue heart with the number 70 in it? That is the number that Chris Trickle, his nephew, rides in the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour. Of course, you see everybody in that car, everybody in the different cars have that sticker. We're riding there with Rodney Combs. He has the Chris Trickle sticker. Most all the teams do. Phil Parsons, who has been in the top 10, running in 6th. Laps remaining here. There's Phil Parsons' numbers for 1997. Darn good.
Yep.
And like we said earlier, it was just accidents that he missed earlier today. Was the stuff he got caught up in last year. The only Busch Series driver to have finished every mile of every event here in 1997. He's only led one lap, though, Phil Parsons. Led a lap last week during a series of pit stops in Atlanta. Otherwise, though, he has been very, very consistent. And, of course, consistency is what pays off. Larry McReynolds, you spent some time over at the Texas Motor Speedway. The NASCAR Busch Series teams were there doing some testing. They'll run there in a few weeks. Of course, you were there with Dale Earnhardt. How'd you find the racetrack?
Well, Bruton Smith, Eddie Gossage, and all the people there, they've, you know, I think we knew what to expect when we went there. It's a great facility. Going to see some good racing there. Track was in great shape, and track had a lot of grip, and looked like we're going back racing, Eli.
We are indeed going back racing as the field comes back to the stripe. Lap 148 going up on the board. The 63, that blue and white Lysol machine, not among the leaders right there, though he is on the racetrack. Tracy Leslie in 22nd, but the other guys are battling for the top spot. Riding with Stevie Reeves. Stevie's had a pretty good day. He's in 16th. There goes Todd Bodine now. This is for the lead. Todd in the 36, challenging Tim Steele. Here comes Jeff Green in the 8. He is running in 3rd. Again, the 4th machine there, the 63, not on the lead lap. That's Tracy Leslie.
Todd was very aggressive on that restart. He wanted the bottom and he wanted to lead, and he has not been able to get anything but the bottom out of it so far. Oh, look at this. We're going to have 3 of them in here for the lead.
Jeff Green had an idea. We're still 51 laps from the finish.
Tim Steele's car working good in that second groove.
James Finch's machines have never been down on power.
Well, that thing's running today. What a nice shot.
That's from that gyro cam, or whatever the exact term was.
Gyro cam, that's what it is. Yeah, Alex Calder is the cameraman up there.
Still battling for the lead. Clyde McLeod and the guys mad.
Whoa, Mike Dillon getting a little out of shape there.
I was going to say, I see Clyde McLeod and the guys kind of biting their nails across the way there on pit road, Matt.
Eli, right before that last car, I talked to Clyde, and he said the car was loosened up a little bit to Todd's liking. Their biggest problem is an aero problem on the nose of the car. It gets real pushy when he gets in traffic. But if he gets clean air, he's really fast. Their biggest worry is not the 4 car, he told me, but the white 8 car by Jeff Green.
Now, right now, they're going to be worried about Greg Sachs, because Sachs is trying to put him down out of the position as well in the 45.
And Sachs loves this place. All you have to do is say, what do you think of this place? And you got about a 15-minute discourse on Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And smoothest place he's ever run. He says just loves this place.
You know, Eli, what Matt was talking about the 36 car, and a track that has speeds this fast, that's not an unusual characteristic. When you get up behind the car, you lose the downforce on the front of your car and will make the front end not want to turn.
These guys battling for the lead. We got 3 wide behind them as well, middle of the pack.
Tracy Leslie in the 63. He's crashed his last 3 times out. He is not in the lead lap, not in the fight for position here.
Just can't quite get out of the way right now, nor is he holding anybody up.
Sachs is having such a run in the 45 car, isn't he?
Really is.
Talked to those guys this morning. They was real happy after the last practice yesterday and showing up here today.
Dick Trickle holds off the challenge from Phil Parsons, so Dick hangs on to the 5th spot now. Parsons back to 6th. Let's go back to Matt Yoakum.
Clyde McLeod told me, no need to worry. What happened was, all weekend long, Todd has said he hates being down on the bottom. He got pinched down to the bottom, and with the aero problem, he got into a big whoa situation there. So he kind of backed off, jumped back in line, and now he's back going on his way to the front.
21 teams still on the lead lap here in Las Vegas. 47 laps from the finish. Tim Steele, Jeff Green, Todd Bodine, Greg Sachs, Dick Trickle, that's your top 5. Phil Parsons is 6th. Glenn Allen just now goes around Hermie Sadler, so give Glenn Allen 7th. Hermie is back to 8th. Mike Dillon now in 9th. Bobby Labonte is up to the 10th spot now. 11th is Michael Waltrip. Kevin LePage is 12th. Jimmy Spencer is 13th. Steve Park is 14th. Dale Jarrett is 15th. Terry Labonte is 16th. Tim Fedua is 17. The others on the lead lap are Stevie Reeves, Shane Hall, Rodney Combs, and Johnny Chapman. 21 teams on the lead lap. We are back live at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It was back on lap number 19. Jerry Robertson spun, brought up the first caution. The 7th caution, lap number 127. Jason Keller and others. The 8th caution, lap number 140. Elliott Sadler spins. Jerry Robertson as well. And that brings you up to speed on TNN Motorsports. Welcome back, everybody, with Dick Berggren, Larry McReynolds, Glenn Jarrett, and Matt Yoakum. I'm Eli Gold. Welcome to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Up front, it has been a dandy battle. Dick Trickle now in 4th. He wants 3rd from a very powerful Jeff Green if he can wrestle the spot away. You're riding with Phil Parsons. He is in 5th. The lead still Tim Steele, but here comes Todd Bodine in the 36 machine. Give it to Todd Bodine at the stripe at lap 161.
Michael Waltrip back in the picture again, too.
Dick's got 3rd. He's wanting 2nd.
Riding along with Dick Trickle. Pretty strong. Inside groove. He puts Green away. Now he draws even with Steele.
Steele has picked up a tire mark at his door. Somebody got close to him.
Here comes Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. Glenn Allen is the 99 behind them, and Greg Sachs the 45.
Is this not some good side-by-side racing?
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, the drivers promised this. I mean, all weekend long, you talk to any of these guys, and they said this was the kind of event we were going to see today. Michael Waltrip right back in it again with that number 21 car.
Jeff Green might have the best power, but Todd is handling so darn well at times, at least when he has to get going. What do you think, Glenn?
I think you're exactly right, Eli. I think Jeff does have the most power. Right now, the chassis is not exactly to his liking. Remember, on the last pit stop, they made a little adjustment on it. The car's just a little too tight. That's why we see him get under cars. He can run up higher. He can't go all the way down because he can't stay in the throttle or get in the throttle quick enough coming off the corners because the car wants to push up the racetrack. So he's just a little bit too tight. If the car will loosen up for him just a little bit in these next 35 or so laps, then he might be a factor. But right now, he's just got to pretty much try to hold his position.
There goes Michael Waltrip in the 21, challenging with Tim Steele.
He just keeps putting them away, doesn't he, Eli?
He is.
One after another.
Tim Steele don't have quite as fresh a tires as the other guys have. It looks like it's maybe starting to play a role in just a little bit.
Laps down, as you see, are just 36 remaining. Matt Yoakum, what are they saying down in the Tim Steele pit?
Eli, I talked to James Finch. He said the last time they pitted was lap 113, and they've got 2 tires left. They don't have anything for the 36 or the 8, and they're not going to pit for tires unless they get a caution because they're going to get killed in track position. So right now, Tim Steele is just holding on.
So that's 15 laps older tires than the fellas who came in at lap number 128 against whom he is basically racing right now. Gotta feel good for Todd Bodine. I mean, here's a guy who had run and completed 763 of the 764 laps this year. He had completed all but one, but it led only 2 laps, and that was during the sequencing of pit stops a week ago in Atlanta. Today, they have finally broken free of that barrier because they've been awfully strong. Just taken his car behind the wall, so Terry Labonte goes to the garage area. Let's take a look now and see who's running where. That is Todd Bodine, as we'll give you a field trip back through this run. Steve Park going by. Bobby Labonte. There's Elton Sawyer, 58 laps down, but he's running. Randy LaJoy, many laps down. goes the Robertson machine. Here comes back of the field now. You saw Mike McLaughlin there running with Jeff McClure. Cycle on around to the front again with 33 laps remaining.
Kevin LePage there in the number 88 car. That's a backup car. The one he demolished was the car he won Homestead in. It's so wrecked that they've decided they're not going to race it again ever. LePage is trying to persuade his car owner to restore it and make it a museum piece.
We look at action now, middle of the pack, and now back to the front. You know, remember back, guys, Todd Bodine's first NASCAR Busch Series win was where? Michigan International Speedway. Another reason he's all pumped up here, because we've talked so much today how many of these drivers and teams have this car set up like they're running in Michigan. There's one more reason Todd was smiling, and right now it's paying off. 31 laps from the finish. He might just have them covered. We are back with you in Las Vegas. And yes, that is Dick Trickle who now shows the way ahead of Todd Bodine and Jeff Green. Jeff Green now rumbling to the inside for second.
What a story it would be if Dick Trickle could win this thing today. His whole family is here at Las Vegas Speedway. They had that family reunion, and Trickle has never won a Busch Grand National race. He's been second 3 times, but in 48 starts, never first.
And we will show you how he took the lead, but we don't want to leave this battle for second right here. So just hang with us a minute. We'll see how second place sorts out, and then we'll show you how Dick took the lead a minute or so ago.
Looks like the handling is going away just a little bit from Todd's car.
Yeah, he's definitely not as strong as he was 10 or even 15 laps ago. Backing up.
Right here is where he gets it back on Jeff Green. What you remember, as Glenn told us a while ago, right there off the corner is where Jeff Green can't quite get back to the throttle because his car is pushing right there.
Let's check in on Glenn Jarrett. What do you think is the deal on the Jeff Green car?
Well, guys, the longer that car runs, the freer it becomes. It's a little tight early on when the tires are fresher. As he runs longer, it starts to loosen up. Also, Larry, he's trying it down below. We've seen it so many times when a car gets behind another car, that tightens him up that much more on the racetrack. If Jeff could ever get back to the front where he's got nobody in front of him, I think that he could pull away from him. But you see, he finally did make the pass on Todd. I think he'll catch Trickle. Whether he can get back by him or not, I don't know. But his car gets better and better and better the longer they go.
Now that second place has settled down, let's take you back a few laps and show you how Dick Trickle took the lead.
Looks like Todd's car just was washing up in the corner. They go down the backstretch. Dick drives under him, headed off into turn 3. Todd fights back him just a little bit, but Dick's holding that bottom line. And as they go to come off 4, he completes the pass for the lead.
And I want to clarify what I had said earlier about Todd Bodine. I had meant to say he won the first Busch Series race in Michigan. Not that his first Busch Series win was at Michigan. It was at Dover, Delaware in '91. But Todd won the first Busch Series race ever at the Michigan International Speedway. So I wanted to clarify that. As see Dick Trickle now feeling the heat from behind.
You see the smile on his face, too, couldn't he, Eli? Even behind that microphone, there it was, the big grin.
I talked to Dick yesterday before the last practice, and he was rambling on and on and on about his car, and he was telling me, you know, I think I got a good top 5 car. And Dennis Shoemaker, the car owner, walked up and said, Dick, you're not happy with the car, are you? He said, that's the story he always gives you. He says, I've got a good top 5 car. Obviously, they made some changes, and as this race has progressed, looks like maybe the racetrack has come to him.
You see him check his mirror, constantly checking that mirror, and he is looking for one Jeff Green in that mirror, and Green has closed on the back bumper of Dick Trickle.
Remember the show that Dick Trickle gave us on TNN at Milwaukee last year? Came so very close to pulling off that win.
Yep, coulda, shoulda, maybe won that one, huh?
Yeah. 24 laps to go. This battle's going to continue, and so will our coverage as we ride with the pride of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. We are live live at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but if you want to find the official destination of NASCAR, you need to go to Opryland, USA in Nashville. For more information, just call the number you see on the screen, 615-889-6611. That phone number is operational Monday through Friday. I'll give you all the information and get you set for a trip to Opryland, the official destination of NASCAR. 18 laps to go. Dick Trickle and Jeff Green trying to settle it among themselves. Third place Todd Bodine has fallen back now by roughly 9/10 of a second, nearly a full second behind is where you'll find Todd. Then Tim Steele and Michael Waltrip rounding out your top five. There you see Steele and Michael Waltrip battling. Dick Trickle started at 23rd today. You saw a slower car on the inside of the track. This again is the battle now for 4th and 5th.
You've got to be wondering what Jeff Purvis might be thinking sitting home watching this race and seeing the car he used to drive do so well. But then again, remember Purvis won 2 races in that car last year, had some real strong runs.
It is said basically after 11 years or so, it was just time for everybody to go their own way.
While these guys been racing side by side, Phil Parsons, he's done moved into the picture working on these back bumper of these guys.
Phillips in 6th. Back up front. There goes Jeff Green beginning to rumble.
Let's try the outside.
They're coming to the start-finish line. That would have been Trickle by inches that time. This is a great run.
Boy, Green just motored by on the outside, didn't he? What a nice smooth pass.
So from 171 to 185, Dick Trickle is the leader. But then Jeff Green takes over the top spot again. If you're wondering what Dick Trickle does while he's out there racing, keep an eye on this. This is a moment or so ago.
I think this was like coming off of turn 2. This wasn't really up on the straightaway when we saw this going on a while ago. They went through 1 and 2. There you see him checking the mirror, and he reaches up and says, I don't want to look out of these goggles right now. What's my time of this helmet? Yeah. You know, a lot of times, especially those bubble goggles, and I see it with Dale Earnhardt, the driver I work with, they'll kind of get fogged up, and you have to put them up there and kind of let them air out a little bit and clear the fog out.
Yeah, but that guy was going 160 miles an hour
in the middle of a corner.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the straightaway.
Here at lap 187. Here comes Greg Sachs now into the picture to join the battle with Steele and Parsons. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. You see Michael Waltrip is just ahead of them. Michael's running in 4th.
Sachs has found a home in this series. He only run 18 of these Grand National races, won that big race in Alabama last year. Good run today for him.
Greg has a driving school going down at the Homestead Motorsports Complex in Florida.
He's got one going on right now, too, Eli.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Teaching some lessons today.
You know, this is the car that is owned by Mike Laughlin, the chassis builder, and Greg's driving the car this year to the misfortune of Mike Laughlin Jr., who got burnt so bad at Homestead last year at the end of the year in a preliminary race in a bad fire.
Working around Stevie Reeves. Stevie running in 16th spot as Jeff Green. A look that says I've got him covered. Winding our way down towards the finish, just 8 laps to go. A race that has seen 21 lead changes at last count. We might have seen the last one, though, because Jeff Green has pulled away from Dick Trickle and said, all right, let's time to put this baby to bed.
He's checking out.
He's got a pretty clear racetrack in front of him. There's a few cars up there, but I don't know that he'll catch them in 7 laps.
That's the best battle on the track. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th now with Tim Steele, Phil Parsons, and Greg Sachs. Everything else right now, quite honestly, is separated by many car lengths, but that's a good battle yet. 5th, 6th, and 7th. Riding with Phil Parsons.
There up on some lap traffic. They couldn't really go over
here. Work around some of the slower machines. That's Jeff McClure they bypass. Stevie Reeves in the 96. They've got the Royal Oak colors of Mike McLaughlin to negotiate around. He's in 24th spot, Mike is. There'll be 5 laps to go next time by.
Regardless of the outcome, Tim Steele has given that 4-car a well of a ride today.
He sure has. He's done a terrific job.
Regardless of the outcome, if every race fan in America doesn't hustle to get out here, because this has been maybe the best advertisement this racetrack could have wanted, a competitive race like this.
I'll tell you, if Green does win this thing, it'll be interesting to see how he behaves in victory lane. I asked him yesterday, I said, you've run so many races, you've been close so many times. I said, when you finally win one of these things, what are you going to do in victory lane? Have you thought about it? He said, oh yeah, I've thought about it, but you're just going to have to wait and watch it.
If he does win, this would be the second win from the pole in 1997. Mark Martin won from the pole at the Rock here on TNN Motorsports. Let's take you back so you'll know what the interval is. There is Jeff Green, the leader, and then you see Dick Trickle just now pivoting into the picture. Then you've got Todd Bodine. He's the 3rd place man. Then you'll wait for Michael Waltrip right there. And then you've got the Steele, Parsons, Greg Sachs battle we talked about. That's ongoing with Steve Park behind them in 8th, Glenn Allen 9th, and Mike Dillon currently running in 10th.
Jeff Purvis's car really comes up off that corner good.
You mean Steele?
Tim Steele.
I knew one of us was going to do it. I thought it was going to be me, Larry.
Got to put money in the kitty dog. But I didn't call it a truck.
Yeah, I'll take that, Donald. Thank you.
And you are right. He comes out of the hole real well with that thing. Watch Sachs in the 45. He's not done yet today. Sachs is going to make a move before this checkered flag comes out.
There's Jeff Green. We talked about the multi-car teams earlier in the day when we signed on. Well, his teammate Elliott Sadler is right there, now in his street clothes after the accident that put him out at lap 140. He has gone to the pit area of the Diamond Ridge Motorsports entry and is cheering his teammate on. Hey, old Gary Bechtel's got himself a pretty good stable of race drivers right there. That's the team owner.
Only thing he doesn't have is a sponsor on the side of either car.
Yeah.
No sponsor on either one of those. Somebody's missing the boat there, aren't they?
Yeah. And, you know, they had opportunities in the case of Sadler for one-race sponsorships at Daytona for the Gargoyles 300 when they won the Busch pole there. And they said, no thanks, we want something for the full season. We're not going to go picking somebody for one race, somebody for another race. We'll wait till a full sponsor comes along.
You know, if you watch these 2 teams and these 2 drivers in the garage area, I know the Yates teams work good together, the Childress's teams, but these 2 teams really work together close.
White flag is out for that man, Jeff Green, trying to become the 77th different driver to win a NASCAR Busch Series race. That is the 2nd place man, Dick Trickle. Todd Bodine is currently 3rd. But Jeff Green, he's been strong since they rolled that transporter onto the property here Thursday. The battle further back for 5th, 6th, and 7th, but finally, 16 years, 1 month, and 3 days since the series began, they run out west, and it is Jeff Green who takes home the top honors. Trickle is 2nd. Todd Bodine will come home 3rd. Michael Waltrip 4th. Here's the next battle. Steele, Sachs, Phil Parsons in that position, going for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Steve Park is 8th. Glenn Allen 9th. And Mike Dillon comes home 10th. We're heading to Victory Lane at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in just a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Las Vegas 300 has been brought to you by Polaroid. Watch, wait, and see what develops. And what's going to develop is that man starting to smile. Jeff Green, a winner in Victory Lane. Glenn Jarrett, it's all yours.
It's all Jeff Green's and that great Diamond Ridge crew. Jeff Green, first of all, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
100 starts, a bunch of 2nd place finishes. We both get a bath. I know he needed it. I didn't. Congratulations, Jeff. Boy, that was a great race car, and you did an awesome job with it.
Thank you, man. It's a great day. Thank the good Lord for this one, I guarantee you. Thank this guy right here, Wes Ward. my best friend. I guarantee he had a great car today. Gary Beckler, everything. B&R Motors, like Mike Laughlin chassis. Thank God for Goodyear, man. What a tire. We could run like 100 laps on them. They wouldn't give up anything. We had a great car. Our car just pushed a little bit behind those guys. Once it got in front of them, I could go.
You had a real close call there early on when you got together with Jason Keller when everything stacked up there. Had to cause your heart to stop for a moment.
That's why I say the good Lord's with me today, because I drove through some wrecks, and I don't know how I missed them. I closed my eyes a couple of times, but we did. It was meant for us to win today. A couple of weeks ago it wasn't, so we saved it for today.
Well, his wife, Michelle, has joined him here. We're going to let them celebrate. Again, a great job by Jeff Green. He had a good car all day long, and he did what he was supposed to do. He brought it home in victory lane.
He did. A way to celebrate his 100th career start on the NASCAR Busch Series and the Busch Beer Shower for everybody down there in victory lane. Heck of a way to inaugurate the Busch Series visit to Las Vegas, guys. Super race today, and there you see the finishing numbers. But what a great afternoon.
It really was. The side-by-side racing, and again, just, you know, the close call, Jeff Green, that makes this victory just that much more sweeter.
There you see the top 10. A good run today for a number of fellas who scuffled a bit during the weekend, but then worked their way back up towards the front. Old Johnny Chapman had problems here on Thursday and manages to soldier on for a good 20th place finish. And then you get to some of the fellas who dropped out midway through. Jimmy Spencer, Terry Labonte. Not the best of days on an overall for the Winston Cup visitors. Yes, Michael Waltrip had a good run, but it wasn't the best of days for the rest of the guys.
Well, Dick Trickle had a good run, too, but the majority of them, you're right. These Busch drivers have gotten to the point that they are an absolute handful. They run this series week in, week out, and they have gotten extremely good at their craft.
So there you see the 42 finishers today. The margin of victory was 2.879 seconds for Jeff Green, who took the victory here this afternoon. Does a great job to win it all here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So the day is done. Let's remind you what's coming up next here on TNN Motorsports. The Galaxy Foods 400, Hickory Motor Speedway, 2 weeks from yesterday. Saturday, March the 29th. We've got Jason the Jet Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and of course all the regular NASCAR Busch and some Winston Cup visitors will be on hand for that one. Then the Winston, NASCAR's All-Star Race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll have that for you Saturday, May the 17th under the lights. Remember tonight, Rick Benjamin will be along at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Race day, that's coming up this evening, the PM edition. In Fisherman is coming up next. So for those of you who want to stick around here on TNN Motorsports, we'll hand it over to the outdoors folks. In Fisherman coming up as soon as we move aside. Our thanks to Dr. Dick Bergman, Larry McReynolds, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, and most importantly, we thank you for tuning in across the country. Hope you enjoyed the day here today. Our congratulations to Jeff Green, first-time winner at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as the NASCAR Busch Series has gone west for the very first time ever. For all of us at TNN, I'm Eli Gold. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. So long, everybody.